To come to the game. We're with you in Sports and right through until 7 o'clock. It's time now though for Open All Mic. Stay tuned to BBC Radio Scotland.
Chance! And it's a goal! Oh, what a goal!
All the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's the second goal!
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. Our first game finished Celtic 3, Rangers 2. We'll have more reaction to that later in the programme. We'll hear from fans. Lots of fans joined us last week. It was great to get their voice, to be part of the debate. So we'll get plenty more on that throughout the afternoon. We have 4 games in the top flight kicking off at 3 o'clock. We're reporters at 2 games in the Championship. Again, so much still to be decided there, and what a game there is in League One. Dunfermline could move on to the verge of being crowned champions of that league. They are away this afternoon at Falk. It should be an absolute cracker in that game. We've got the team news from the 4 Premiership matches. Let's then dip into the Championship. Arbroath are at home to Dundee this afternoon. There for us is Amy Canavan. Good afternoon, Amy.
Afternoon to you, Kenny. Yeah, you can look anywhere today in the Championship and say, oh, that is quite a big game. We're expecting around 5,000 fans here at Gayfield, with just under 3,000 Dundee fans making the short journey. And because of that, kick-off has actually been delayed by 10 minutes as supporters continue to file their way in. What a way to add to the tension. Only Partick Thistle and today's opposition Dundee are more in form than Arbroath, unbeaten in the last 6 games that Campbell has finally managed to get a tune out of his Red Lichties. 4 draws and 2 wins in the last 2 games against Queen's Park and Ayr United. Dundee will have no doubt have kept a keen eye on the thrills at Firhill last night. The Spiders defeat gifting Dundee the opportunity to leapfrog the leaders at the Summit with a win today, while still having a game in hand over Owen Coyle's side. The referee today is Scott Lammy, but as I say, we are going to be 10 minutes behind, so there's no chance of me getting an early getaway tonight.
You know, I look forward to that game. Arbroath against Dundee. What a game there is at the bottom. Hamilton Accies against Cove Rangers. There for us, Chick Young.
Yeah, Kenny, I feel a bit like the Grim Reaper here, choosing his next victim. It's very tight. Cove really need to win this. 31
Duke
points.
is in! It's a goal!
Willie Miller, take it away!
It's a goal so early at Pittodrie! And you can just hear the shout behind me. The crowd are going crazy. It is that man, the one and only Duke. The pass is through onto his right foot. He gets his head over it, just inside the box, and drills it into the back of the net to give Aberdeen just a perfect start here this afternoon. Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0.
What a lucky man you are, Willie Miller. Games haven't even got underway around the country and you've already got a goal.
I know, I hope Alan's listening as well.
I am listening, William. I hope they don't give him a tinny beans as a man of the match award.
Biscuit, it was significant that I mentioned the Grim Reaper and Willie Miller jumped in.
Listen, he's been full of positivity this season, there's no doubt about that.
That was no Reaper. That was no Reaper report, I must say. That was a joyous report.
Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted by William, that's a must win for the other Aberdeen team, Cove, this afternoon. They're trailing Hamilton Accies. I think if the 31 games, only 5 left to save themselves at the bottom, and they're maybe lucky they're playing Accies on a Saturday afternoon, because, Kenny, here's one. Scott Sutherland's Accies always comes up with one for us. Hamilton Accies have played 7 Tuesday nights this season and won every game. Oh, there you go.
Good start.
I was up all night searching that. Yeah, it was good, that.
Fantastic. I tell you, I was just reading up myself earlier. Cove Rangers were 10 points clear of Accies when they sacked Jim McIntyre on the 2nd of January. That was after a 6-1 defeat, of course, to Inverness Cali Thistle, their 2nd defeat in 8. And my goodness, look how tight it is at the bottom this afternoon. Should be an edgy one there for Chick Young. Should be a cracking game for you this afternoon, Derek Ferguson. Falkirk against Dunfermline.
Absolutely rammed in here, Kenny. I forgot how mad this fixture is. The atmosphere is absolutely electric. You know, the Dunfermline fans away to my left-hand side, obviously with that 11 points advantage. You know that they're champions-elect, but they're in real party mode at the moment. The game was held up a little bit, a 1 or 2 flares coming onto the surface, but brilliant atmosphere. Hopefully the game lives up to the atmosphere, Kenny.
Yeah, I remember actually. Chance somewhat.
Oh, it's a chance. It's St Johnstone. It's for Gordon. It's a brilliant ball in from Witherspoon. The pace is on the free kick, and as Liam Gordon gets his head to it, just wide of the target. Good start. 4 minutes on the clock, 0-0.
Alan, we heard Derek saying there how big a fixture that is. You actually covered that fixture for us earlier in the season, and the crowds really flock in for that one.
That was brilliant. It was really good. Dunfermline won 1-0. Real hatred, and Dunfermline fans actually got a police escort back over the bridge from Falkirk. It's really, they don't like each other at all.
Oh, I get that. But when I come into this, well, outside the stadium, the old horses were there. You know, it was a 6 or 7. You know, so but the atmosphere, I mean, they will, hopefully they'll behave themselves. But the atmosphere, the place is absolute. Not a seat to be had. So great atmosphere. It's great to see this cracking. I love this stadium anyway. You know, I mean, lovely stadium, but just nice to see it full. And Falkirk on the front foot at the moment, get themselves forward. It's just been cut out.
Yeah, the Pars 11 points clear at the top of League One. There has been an early goal. It is Annan Athletic 1, Dumbarton 0. Willie Gibson with a goal there in the second minute. But he's not the first goal scorer from the 3 o'clock kickoff. Willie Miller, what a start from the Dons here at Pittodrie.
Oh, it's quite incredible, Ken. It's right from the kickoff. You know, there's only, maybe 3 passes. It ends up with Majowski picking it up just outside the box. So he gets his head up. He sees Duke making the run to his right-hand side. It's a perfect pass for his striking partner. That's him on to 14 league goals, and Majowski on 15. Quite a partnership that is it not? You know, mostly at home, I must say. I think if they could repeat that form away from home, it could have been a sensational season for them. But they've started this game in fire, and as far as Kilmarnock's concerned, Derek McGuinness must be so disappointed that right from the kickoff, Aberdeen, after 3 passes, find themselves 1-0 up.
Yes, 17 seconds that goal for Duke there for the Dons. What a run they are on under Barry Robson. Let's then go to a big game at Tynecastle this afternoon. What's happening in the early stages, Michael Stewart?
Well, both sides just sort of getting their way into the game at the moment. There's not a great deal happening. There's no goalmouth action so far, but we're only less than 5 minutes into it. As I said before, it's a fair bit of pressure building for the home side. They need to try to turn around what has been a very poor run of form, which has coincided with Aberdeen clearly going on a great run of form, and the live table will have the Dons ahead of Hearts at the moment, and that would have been unthinkable only a couple of months ago. So it's vitally important that Hearts pick up the performance and result here today, and for St Mirren, as I said earlier on, chance for them to go 1 behind the home side here. At the moment, it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's incredible, Alan. When Barry Robson took over, Hearts had played 22 games, 38 points. Aberdeen played 23 games and 29 points. So 9 points behind, having played a game more, the Dons at that point. And look who we are now. What a job Barry Robson has done. And that's coincided with a dreadful run from Hearts.
Yeah, it has, Kenny. I mean, Hearts' form is really poor, and I think the manner of their displays as well is poor. They're not playing well at all. But take nothing away from Aberdeen. Willie, they've been excellent, and Barry Robson, you know, if he's got the job to the end of the season, if he can finish third, I don't see why they can't give him the job full time going forward. It's been quite a remarkable turnaround.
The noticeable thing here, Kenny, is Robert Snodgrass is playing as a number 10. And they've got 2 guys, Cammy Devlin and Andy Halliday, sitting in the midfield, and George Grant is out on the left-hand side. That is the problem. That is the crux of it for Hearts. The midfield has been all over the shop for large parts this season, and you know, again today there's another sort of shake-up in the middle of the park. Devlin coming back in, Halliday coming back in.
Chance, goal! It's a goal for the home side. It's a goal for Falkirk. Nisbet. Oh, it's lovely football. Great play from Morrison. Clever little ball into Nisbet. Tell you what, he's a good player. I've watched him through the years. Great first touch. Just finds that bottom right-hand corner. 1-0 Falkirk.
Fantastic start for Falkirk. Peterhead 1-0 up against FC Edinburgh. Joshua Onisan on 7 minutes. Down in England, Brentford 1-up against Newcastle United.
Oh, what a finish that is. Kevin Van Veen. 1-0 to the home side. Motherwell has come against the run of play. Livingston have controlled large parts of the game. in the opening 10 minutes or so, but it's Motherwell who take the lead. A fantastic run down the left-hand side by James Furlong. An awful pass, I must say, by Nicky Devlin is punished. He plays the ball Furlong into Kevin Van Veen. Wonderful first touch with the right, lashes it home with the left. It's 1-0 to Motherwell. They should have been 1-0 up actually after 4 minutes. The very impressive Max Johnson had a chance one-on-one as well. Shamal George made the save. Like I say, Livingston controlled large portions of it. Motherwell with the two best chances, one taken, one not. 1-0 Motherwell. Kevin Van Veen.
Brilliant counter-attacking play. Rory, when you look at the numbers that Motherwell commit forward as well, they've sucked St Mirren into an area, but Van Veen's still got an awful lot to do. His first touch is excellent. The second touch, he nearly bursts the net with it. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's bang out of order, so it is.
What's that?
The Falkirk players, Nisbet who scored, they've undone his ponytail. He's took about 30 seconds to get it put back in.
Aidan Nesbitt with the ponytail there.
I think one of the boys have just pulled. I would pull it out, I know. To be honest with you.
You ever had that problem, Fergie?
Absolutely not, as you know, Biscuits.
Never happened to you?
So Aidan Nesbitt with a goal there on 8 minutes. Falkirk 1, Dunfermline Athletic 0.
What's bang out of order? The ponytail are getting it taken out.
Both, Michael.
I could see you pulling that off. I could see you with a ponytail, Michael. I could see you maybe at one point, no?
Aye, very good, Kenny.
Michael, talk to us.
I'll never see that.
Kenny, here's a question for you. What is New Douglas Park called these days?
Oh, there's been a mixture, hasn't there, Chick?
It was the Fountain of Youth, wasn't it? Has it moved on from there?
No, that's past. That's past.
That, right?
Nah, I couldn't have talked until I arrived here. I know, that just shows you. I mean, it's become a farce. We've talked about this before. It's called, nearly a goal there. It's the ZLX Stadium.
ZLX, yeah. Well done. Michael, just to go back to talking about Hearts, Michael, because yourself and Alan were talking about the problems midfield when you've got Robert Snodgrass in there. So from what you see today, have they been addressed, the problems in that midfield?
Well, he's trying to, clearly, because I said just before, there's a different shake-up in the middle. I think Cammy Devlin is beneficial because he brings energy and legs. I think Andy Halliday, to a great extent, has greater energy and legs as well, although it's not something that comes as easily. He's getting a bit towards the sort of latter stage of his career, but still better than the likes of Kia Marzoglu. But they need to address the middle of the park, in terms of recruitment. Robert Snodgrass has been pushed a little bit further forward into what you would regard as probably an area of the park where he's played the majority of his career, and trying to find a solution to what is becoming a bigger problem as the weeks go on, because the confidence is getting hit as well. But when you look further, this is all trying to mask the problem until the end of the season, until they can rectify it by recruitment, and that's the only way they're going to change that, because the personnel over the middle of the park isn't good enough. The hope that Benengi would come back to some sort of form similar to what he was before he got injured, that would be like a new player in there as well. But certainly they need to be bringing players in the middle, because the likes of George Grant and Kia Marzoglu, who they brought in the summer there, have not done the job that they would have been looking for.
Alan, how much pressure do you feel Robbie Nielsen is under right now? We saw the unsavoury stuff, the stuff outside the ground. That was dreadful. We had some Hearts fans on last week, Alan, coming back from the game at Rugby Park. Really, really unhappy with the manager right now.
Yeah, it's always been there, but it's certainly growing in numbers in the last week. And what happened at Tynecastle is not acceptable last weekend. The spray painting over the club crest. It's just not great, but it's certainly the only way Robbie can shut people up and stop people from criticising him is results. And I think that people are saying that they're listening to the same interview when they lose. The fans are great, we need to do better, we will do better, but the proof's in the pudding, and then it goes on to the next week. So they need to win, and especially today they need to put the home form. It needs to get, the home form's been all right actually, but they certainly need a win today against St Mirren, who are flying at the moment. They're right up Hearts' tails. It could cause them all sorts of concerns at Tynecastle this afternoon.
Kenny, the thing is, look, we've all spoken about, we've all recognised the fact, even when things were going brilliantly up until a month or two ago, that there's an awareness that it is grumblings under the surface. You get a bad run of results, and look at the pressure that's built. It's clearly there. It's clearly there.
Yep.
And fans dictate a lot. The more noise they make, the more pressure it applies to the people that make decisions. But when you just try and balance it out, and you think to yourself, Robbie Nielsen, the job that he's done at Hearts Even when the first time he was here, he had them in a great position. There was a plane flying over the stadium, Nielsen out. Mental. And now we've got that spray painting outside the ground. Mental as well. When you think of the crap that this club's had to put up with in terms of managers over the similar sort of period, the window in the last 6-7 years, and they've never had that. There's never been planes or graffiti outside. So that strikes at a bigger problem that Robbie has in terms of with the support. But I think a lot of them just need to take a look at the bigger picture. Yes, the short-term form needs to get better, but look at the bigger picture and the job that's been done. It's been a very, very good job done.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more from Hearts fans later in the programme. Alloa 0, Queen of the South 1, Rory Payton on 40 minutes. Inverness, Cali Thistle 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Jay Henderson on 12 minutes there. What's happening in your game then, Alan Preston?
Nothing much, Kenny. It's all sort of battle in the middle of the park. The pitch isn't in great condition. It's very dry, although they'll try to water it. Very bumpy, baldy and patches as well. St Johnstone, they're trying their best to go down the outside. There's a chance for them as we speak. Montgomery with a shot. Oh, just wide of the target. They had that Gordon effort with a free kick from Witherspoon. Gordon headed wide. And there's Montgomery with a shot right across the goal. No takers at the back post. Still 0-0 with 15 into the 15th minute.
So in the top flight in the lunchtime kickoff, Celtic 3, Rangers 2. In the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0, Duke after 17 seconds. Hearts 0, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 1, Livingston 0, Kevin Van Veen on 9 minutes. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0. In the Championship this afternoon, Arbroath 0, Dundee 0, but it just got underway there. Amy saying there was a big crowd expected at Gayfield. Ayr United 0, Morton 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Cove Rangers 0, and Inverness Cali Thistle 1, Wraith Rovers 0. Into League One, Airdrie 0, Montrose 0, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 1, Falkirk 1, Dunfermline 0, as Derek was telling us. Aidan Nesbitt with the goal. Yeah, take it away, Derek.
It was Oliver's ball just breaking to him just inside the box. He's hit it well on the volley. Just takes a little deflection. I think it was off Edwards that's just took it just a yard or two past that left-hand post. But Falkirk have been the dominant side. They've got their noses in front. Obviously that goal from Nisbet 8 minutes into the game, and they're pressing, trying to get that second one. That was so close. Just won a corner kick.
Very good start for John McGlynn's side. Also in League One, Kelty Hearts 0, Clyde 0, Peterhead 1, SC Edinburgh 0. Yes, Alan?
I think that you obviously Ange Postecoglou for Manager of the Year, but I think James McPake must get a notable mention. 1 defeat in the league at Dunfermline. It's incredible what he's done there.
Keep clean sheets, Biscuits. I was just having a look at it.
They do, they're very good. You know, just that, they play well. They're a good and I thought he was harshly treated. They got Dundee up, and then he believes he would have kept Dundee up as well.
Yeah, just when you look at the record, they look defensively sound, don't they? But they've been put under pressure this afternoon so far.
Yeah, well, speaking of managers, I've got a wee quiz for you guys in a couple of minutes' time. I got a wee email during the week, so I can put that to you guys shortly. So I gave you the scores, latest scores from League One. Into League 2 this afternoon, Albion Rovers 0, Elgin City 0, Annan 1, Dumbarton 0. Dumbarton have been a terrible run of form. They were leaders for a long time. Senesweer 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stirling Albion 0, East Fife 0, Stranraer 0, Forfar 0. And in England, the lunchtime kick-off, Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Scott McTominay on the score sheet there for United. Aston Villa 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 0, Newcastle United 0. That goal from even Tony must have been ruled out. Fulham 0, West Ham United 0, Leicester 0, Bournemouth 0, Spurs 1, Brighton 0. A battle there for places in the top 4, and Wolves 0, Chelsea 0. In the 5:30 kick-off, it is Southampton against Manchester City. Let's then get back to Pittodrie. Willie Miller, anything at all by way of a response from Kilmarnock?
I'm so disappointed, Kenny, to be perfectly honest. I mean, a goal in 17 seconds, you would have thought they would have had another couple before
what a
now.
chance. What a chance there for Ross County.
Yep.
Eamon Brophy, the ball's played through. Brophy hit it at the angle, and it's just wide of the target. Brophy saying he's done for the day.
Oh.
He's lying on the ground.
Yeah, it looks as if it's
saying he's done. I
groin.
thought it took a deflection.
Yeah,
And just let me touch on, St Johnstone fans are clapping here, and over the far side we are Perth, we are 1. No to racism, where St Johnstone this week took the steps to ban a fan for life for racially abusing Theo Bair. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. Very quick with their action there. That goal was Son with the goal there for Spurs, 1-0 up against Brighton. That's you right up to date with all the goal news. You were saying there, well, you're expecting some more goals up there at Pittodrie.
Well, I was expecting more from Aberdeen, to be honest. I think they get that goal and they seem a little bit content with it. I mean, they still have got players going forward. Kilmarnock have responded particularly well and had the ball in the Don's half on a number of occasions without really causing any major concern. But I would hope that as I watched last week when Aberdeen went into the lead, they kind of made sure that they were playing they're on the attack now with Majowski down the right hand side with a chip over. No, it comes to nothing. But yeah, they kind of went back and made sure that they had that 5 across the back against St Johnstone. Even with St Johnstone going down to 10 men, didn't enjoy that. And I'm sure the Aberdeen fans here this afternoon won't enjoy it if that's what happens after that early goal. So it's a little bit tentative just now. I'm looking for some more fireworks. Certainly got an explosive start to this game, but more to come surely.
That change been made.
Brophy is off, Kenny, Brophy's off. Simon Murray, as it's coming on, really good pace, Simon Murray. Decent goal scorer as well, but that's a blow for County. Now, hopefully he won't be out for too long because they need him back.
Let's get to Fir Park. Rory Lloyd brought us news of an early goal for the home side. Who else but Kevin Van Veen on 9 minutes? What's happening there now, Rory?
Not an awful lot, I must say. Livingston have had quite a lot of the ball from the back. Now, I think given their poor run of form, David Martindale, for want of a better phrase, went back to basics. He's got Guthrie and Newbley up front, and they're just shelling balls up to them now. 1 in every 5 or 6 balls is working, and it's been picked up by Stephen Kelly or Jason Holt, but in the main it doesn't look for great viewing aesthetically from a fan's perspective. Motherwell, on the other hand, don't have as much of the ball, but when they do have it, they're using it much better. Cornelius Spittle involved in the game, Van Veen pulling into good areas, Mandarin pulling into good areas as well. So what I would say is at the moment Livingston more in the possession, Motherwell much more productive when they get it. They should be 2 goals up. As I said, Max Johnson had a great chance after 4 minutes. Newbley did try and get on the end of a Stephen Bradley cross just moments ago, but for me, given the flow of the game so far, Motherwell very potent in attack and probably deserve their 1-0 lead, Kenny.
Michael, what's the atmosphere like at Tynecastle? I've been seeing a fair bit online recently. Some Hearts fans say it's been a bit quiet. Given what we know of that stadium, say it's just been a bit quiet in recent weeks.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's like a game of football. It has its peaks and troughs, and it can be like that even when you come away from a game thinking the atmosphere was brilliant. There's going to be moments where it's quiet as well, but it's to be expected. It's not a particularly great run of form at the moment. The supporters are going to be a little bit despondent, but certainly if the crowd were to lift the noise and get behind the team, it would be beneficial. But those things are they're very difficult to expect from people when there is an element of despondency. It needs to come from the players. They need to put in a performance almost just to reignite things, and they've started to click into a little bit of a gear here. We're 20 minutes in. There's been a few phases of play where it's looked a little bit more free flowing, a little bit more linked up and joined up in terms of the passages of play and the interchange amongst the players down this left hand side, in particular with Kingsley, and he's whipping balls into the striker's feet, or he's playing into Grant and he's playing around the corner at the striker's feet. Certainly those 2 guys in the midfield, I think, is a much better balance in there today with Devlin and Halliday with Snodgrass in front of them. And as I'm just talking, there was another wee phase of play where they were just beginning to get a few passes going. But for St Mirren, you look at the top end of the park, Curtis Main is a pest. He's a menace. He's a physical presence, and you look at the guys that they've got up in support. Bacchus has got loads of energy, strained down this right hand side. I've been impressed with him. His delivery's very good at times as well. So this is a St Mirren side who can cause problems, and Hearts have got to be very mindful of that.
Inverness Caley Thistle have doubled their advantage at home to Wraith Rovers. Nathan Shaw with the second goal there on 21 minutes. Still, I'm sure, hope for Billy Dodds that he can get his side into the playoffs. Yeah, very decent.
They're all playing for semi-final places now, obviously, as well.
Yep.
Coming up against Falk at the end of the month. It's a real opportunity for them to get outside chance of getting into the playoffs.
And what a result for Partick Thistle last night. Yeah, well, what a result for Partick.
They were brilliant.
And I should say as well, we've got a programme on Tuesday night. We've got an open all night Open All Mike's programme on Tuesday evening. Some big games in the lower leagues. So full coverage from 7 o'clock on Sports Sound on Tuesday. What a result for Partick Thistle, blowing away Queen's Park last night.
A couple of those goals, Kenny, were of the highest quality, and you look back to last season and the condition of the pitch, there's no way they could have scored those types of goals last season, especially as they were gunning for the title. But this season it's in good condition, and my goodness, Brian Graham played his part in the build-up to a lot of the goals, but fantastic to watch it. You know, great advert having that on Friday night in terms of the build-up to the goals and the finish themselves.
Rory, that brilliant, isn't it? The change of pace and the one touch in and around the box, and you could hear Chris talking about it after the games, the work on those sort of things.
You can see that,
you can see it a mile away. Yeah, brilliant goal, you're right.
So look at the live table. That means Thistle are 3 points behind the joint leaders Dundee and Queen's Park. Dundee are away at Broth this afternoon. Amy was telling us a late start. You're underway now, Amy?
Yeah, we are, Ken. It was perhaps slightly exaggerated. We got underway at 3:05, so not too far behind the rest. But I was thinking we were going to get a perfect time in there, just as you were saying that. The Partick result, Dundee could go top. Paul McMullen with the first real chance of the game, really forcing a decent save out of Derek Gaston. Stays big, makes the save with his leg. It remains goalless here up at Gayfield.
The referee has an issue, Grant Irvin, here at Fir Park, Kenny. He's some strap to his arm, which he obviously needs. I don't know whether it's to contact VAR or how it works, but I mean, Stefan Omiyonga went down not so long ago, took a sore one. I think he kicked the bottom of the defender's studs, but there's an issue with with something.
Just his earpiece, Rory.
Oh, is it his earpiece?
It's just the battery pack that connects the earpiece so that he can communicate with the assistant referees and the fourth official.
He's back on now, so hopefully that's it squared up and changed.
Rory mentioned
God forbid they would go back to speaking to each other from a distance.
Well, let's do the quick VAR now, shall we? So I don't know if you guys all have a chance to look at the Morelos goal that was disallowed at Celtic Park at lunchtime. Leanne's had her take on it. So Rory, did you see it?
Yes, I did. I seen the first 35 minutes in the house before leaving to leave for Fir Park.
So what did you make of the decision to disallow the Morelos goal? There's been quite a debate in here.
Well, look, it's not a foul in my opinion. There's not enough contact to give a foul. Yes, you could argue there's a push. However, my point of view is that, and Michael Beale pointed this out afterwards, as the ball comes in, they're both at it. The first real thing that stands out is that Alistair Johnson's got a hold of Morelos' shirt. Now, I don't think that's a foul. However, if that is the bar and that push is enough to be a foul, then the shirt tug is enough, in my opinion, to be given as a foul. I think the goal should have stood in normal time anyway. I don't think there was enough in the push for it to be given a foul. I think Alistair Johnson realises he's lost the battle of strength and panics a wee bit and falls to the floor.
But why push him, Rory? Why push him?
Well, I don't even think it could be described as a push. I mean, he leaned into him almost. I just don't think there was enough in it for it to be a foul. But like I said, if you're going to set the bar that low in terms of contact for a foul, then there's a clear shirt tug on Morelos before, which I'll say it again, I don't think is a foul. But if the bar is set that low, then that incident occurs first, and that should have been given. So all over the shop, referees at the moment, and you know, I've been saying for weeks, it's no teething issues anymore, Kenny. It's really not. It's incompetency.
Anyone else?
It used to be when you grabbed a shirt or an opponent in the box that it was a free kick. You know, I think the issue is that it's all about grappling inside the box, is it not? And the minute you just let that go, and that's what happens. You just let it go. We just now accept that you're allowed to grab an opponent in the box. You're not allowed to do it at any other part of the ground, but when it's a corner kick, you're allowed to do it. For me, I think Johnson's lost it. He's lost his composure. He's lost his position. If he does get a touch in that with his head, it ends up in the back of the net anyway. I think I can understand where the debate lies, and you could get some for it and some against it. I think it should have stood.
I agree with you. I think the goal should have stood, and you're saying, well, about a tug in a jersey is a booking elsewhere. So if it happens in the box, it should be a penalty actually. But I don't. I think over a level of the game where that is chalked off, then it's a nonsense. It's a battle of strength for a ball, and the goal should have stood. I totally agree with what Rory said.
And are now 2-0 up on Dumbarton. Martin McNiff on to cancel that. They're now 3-0 up. So McNiff on 22 minutes, Tony Wallace on 27. My goodness, what a fall from grace for Dumbarton. Stirling Albion have just equalised at home to East Fife. Dale Carrick was in the score sheet midweek. in their win against Elgin City. They were 1 goal down. Jack Keeley on 50 minutes for each 5. Stirling Albion now 1 apiece there. That's you right up to actually. There's a goal in England, a big goal in England. West Ham United 1-0 up away to Fulham. A Harrison Reid own goal on 23 minutes.
Yeah, Kenny, I totally agree. It should definitely have been a goal, and I didn't see any of the game.
I saw the start of the game in the house as well, and the replay that I watched, I can understand why Kevin Clancy blew his whistle, and I can understand why VAR then didn't go against him, but I don't think it should have been. I think it should have been a goal. But when you look at it from the Kevin Clancy's position, Morelos' right arm does stretch out and Alistair Johnson falls over. We can then talk about all the other stuff in terms of grabbing jerseys. They're both doing it. There is a push, call it whatever you want. I think he's more just trying to shake Alistair Johnson off. But from where the ref is standing, I can understand why he's blown his whistle like he has. And VAR to then turn and say, has he made a clear and obvious mistake? I can understand why they've backed the referee up. I just don't think that on the balance of it, me personally, that it should have been given as a foul. I think it should have stood as a goal. But, by the way, this obviously gets a lot more attention. There's been hundreds of these ludicrous decisions throughout the course of the season. Well, not of course, not the full season, because we only brought VAR in through October, which is another nonsense.
Oh yeah. You made your feelings very clear on that one at the time, I remember.
Well, it was just, it's mental. You know, and I think the fact that it's been shown to be so inconsistent, but also given over so many decisions in terms of penalty kicks and handballs, you see the stats are quite clearly there.
Well,
now,
Michael, just on that, we did this at the time, then we did it with Kenny Clark in the programme. You were part of that. So we can just go over this again. There's been an update. So prior to VAR being introduced, there were 63 Premiership games, 17 penalties awarded, so 0.27 penalties per game. Ahead of today in the 117 fixtures since VAR, now 55 penalties. That's gone up to 0.47 penalties per game, so it has almost doubled. But
right, so then there's the point, right? So what you're talking about is that games prior to that is clearly since been a massive influence in terms of whether penalties are being given. Now, penalties are a huge decision. They're a game changer. Now, you bring that in through a portion of the season, of course that's had an effect. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely... But look, it was the clubs that decided for it. I think it was a stupid decision, but it's been made. And the thing is, now we need to try to make sure that the referees and the officials start using VAR properly or better, because the amount of decisions that are made that I think most people just look at and shake their head in disbelief.
One thing I would say is, I think, to be fair, going with the game at Celtic Park at lunchtime, the decisions were made very quickly today, because that has been a criticism, so that they were very clear, very quick today. Let's just go around the grounds. That game finished 3-2 to Celtic in the lunchtime kick-off. We heard from both managers. Let's get to Willie Miller at Pittodrie. What's happening there, Willie?
Yeah, well, I think Derek McInnes will be obviously disappointed with the early strike and goal against him, but since then his team have performed exceptionally well.
What a finish again. Goalkeeper suspect, I must say. Shamal George, Kevin Van Veen has got his second. He makes a run down the right hand side. I say it's a good finish. I probably take that back. It's a decent strike, but Shamal George at his front post, it goes right through his body. David Martindale will be extremely disappointed. There's not been a lot in this game, I must say. Kevin Van Veen doubles his lead. He doubles Motherwell's lead. It's Motherwell 2, Livingston 0.
Was it tight, Rory, with regards to offside? It looked bang on. I've not seen it across the line, but he certainly looks like he's playing on the edge. Van Veen, George has got to do better at his near post. Just getting another look at it now, actually.
Let's hope Grant Urban's battery pack is working.
Nah, he's on.
Yeah, nice run.
Can I just say as well, on the point of speed for VAR, Kenny, I understand we want it to be quicker, of course we do. I was at Rugby Park not so long ago when there was a clear handball by Andrew Considine. Now that decision was made relatively quickly compared to most other instances in the game, but it was an awful decision.
Yeah, it was wrong. It was wrong. And I'm thinking in terms of time, the game that Derek was at in Paisley last week, it just seemed to be an eternity for some of these big calls.
That was 30 seconds into the game, and the penalty kick wasn't took until the 5th minute. So we're talking about 4.5 minutes before the decision was made. crazy. There's a chance. Over. Yeah, Burrow. 2-0. Deserved. Absolutely brilliant. They've dominated.
Chance again. It's a goal.
My goodness.
It's Max Johnson this time. Sorry, Derek.
Oh, you crack on.
Oh no, he's given offside. The flags went
Well,
up.
let me crack on then. They've been outstanding, so they have, Falkirk. They've bossed the game. They've not let Dunfermline breathe whatsoever, and that's deserved. It was Oliver. He should have scored. Great save from Mehmet in goals, but Burrow finishing, following up, just slamming it into the back of net. Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, that cuts the lead down to 8 points. The problem for John McGlynn's side is they would only have 5 games left to play.
I don't think. I think it's Dunfermline's title for sure. But it was interesting what Biscuits was saying earlier there about Inverness getting their act together. Big semi-final coming up. They're a good side on this show anyway so far this afternoon. What we got? 33 minutes in. They've been brilliant, so they have Falkirk.
Rory, just talk us through what happened there then with the chance.
So Livingston, their confidence is obviously low. They're at 6s and 7s at the back. There's an initial shot which is saved. They're checking the possible offside. They've just had an announcement from the stadium. The ball ricochets back out to Max Johnson, who's been very, very good all day. Oh, big cheer here.
Oh, we've got another one.
The referee's still not
right, Derek.
though.
Yeah, and Dunfermline have been outplayed so far. Just breaking down the left-hand side. I think it might have been Chambers, but it's Whiting. Just getting across that front post there. A lovely little glance of the ball into the back of the net. They're back in it, 2-1.
The goal has been given, and it is Max Johnston tapped it in with his left foot effectively from about 12 yards out, in line with the penalty spot. Livingston really, really struggling here. A big change, in my opinion, under Kettlewell is the influence of the two fullbacks. Furlong creating the first, Johnson scoring the third after he should have had one earlier on. Motherwell running riot here. It's Motherwell 3, Livingston 0, and David Martindale has got his head in his hand, looking on in despair.
I tell you what, Rory.
Problem for Cove Rangers here, Kenny. It's I have to say, Blair Yule with a challenge earlier on. He tried to play on, but he just sat down the middle of the park. He's been subbed. Vertonen's on. Here's a chance for Aggies inside the box. Is that a penalty? The ball's in the net. Oh my goodness, what a comedy of errors. Oh no, he's now decided it's a free kick. That was ridiculous defending by Cove. Aggies get through. The goalkeeper came out. The ball came back off. It was, I think, Ashley Seal at the front. It went to the net, but the referees decided it was a foul, and the goalkeeper. It remains 0-0. A break there for Cove Rangers. As I said, Blair Yule has just limped off. This is some game, actually. You can see
Check,
exactly
that was brilliant. That was a goal. It was a penalty. It was a foul. It was a throw-in. It was different.
All of
that. He's never one to underplay things, let's be honest.
No, it sounded brilliant. Yeah, I loved that.
Right, OK, Leanne, you were going to come in on Motherwell.
I was going to say it was never offside. It was a shocking decision from the assistant referee to call it in the first instance. A yard.
It did look like a yard. Deep.
Yeah, really poor. Looking at, not that we want to go with the lines in the pitch, but when you see it tonight on Sports Scene, it's very, very clear that the initial decision was well onside.
Well, are you feeling a bit left out now? My goodness, you get us off to a cracker, 17 seconds, but it's gone quiet.
Yeah, but Duke's through now.
Right.
Listen, I think it might have been offside, but Majovski's in. There's a bit of a coming together in the box. They will check it. For me, it's not a penalty. It was Dorset on Majovski as Duke played the ball in. I'm saying they will check it. They might check it. Time will tell. Yeah, it's been a really quiet kind of an afternoon after that explosive start. And Aberdeen, they just go back to that back five. And I think, Barry Robson said that in the last game against St Johnstone. They get their nose in front. They don't want to give anything away. They do make an effort to get forward. But for me, I think at home it's not enough as yet. They had the upper hand. They get the fantastic start. I think they should be taking, more risks and going for that second goal. They haven't done that, and that's why it's a little bit bogged down. I think Kilmarnock have done well. They've responded well to that early strike, and they look dangerous going forward as well. They haven't really created much. A Deutsch header by the post from a corner kick is about it, but they've certainly had plenty of the ball and given Aberdeen quite a bit to think about. But it's still the Dons in front by the odd goal.
Brighton have equalised away. Spurs 1-1. Lewis Dunk with the goal. Yes, check.
This has turned a bit more serious, actually, because Scott Fox, who was the goalkeeper in question for Cove Rangers, is flat out prostate. They've already decided that Kyle Gourley, the goalkeeper's coming on. They're taking a stretcher onto the pitch now. The game has been held up for a fair old time, and I have to say that Scott's not making much movement down there. He's had treatment from the Cove physio. They've got the stretcher out, and his afternoon is certainly over in terms of a football match. We just like to hope he's okay. There's a bit of a worry about him down there, and as I said, there's more ambulance people coming onto the park. So Scott Fox down, injured. Kyle Gourley waiting to make his way onto it, and all happened in that bizarre instant when the chance for Aki's and Benny Ashley Seal came through. Totally innocent in the challenge. You had to go for it, but the goalie looks very sleek. I'm delighted to say he is now sitting up. That's good to see.
Yep.
He might be able to just make it off the park, but the substitution will be made.
Yeah, it's a big game, that one. These two sides at the bottom of the table. What a result it was for Hamilton Accies winning away at Wraith Rovers midweek. Cove in a dreadful run of form under Paul Hartley. What's happening at Tynecastle, Michael Stewart?
Well, there was a corner kick there from Lawrence Shankland. You can imagine it was really wickedly whipped in. Lawrence Shankland was able to knock it back across the face of the goal. It was scrambling about. Kai Rose got a header on target. It just got cleared away by St Mirren, but there's been not a great deal of goalmouth action at either end for in this game so far. I'm just looking at the clock there. We're about 7 minutes away from half-time, and it's just sort of stuttering along. Both sides looking to try to get the upper hand here, but neither of them managing to do it to any great extent so far. Still 0-0.
It's crazy to think, Kenny, a few weeks ago, if you'd said that in the battle for the top six between Livingston and St Mirren, that Livingston coming to Fir Park, you would argue at this moment in time it's probably a better fixture to have than going to Tynecastle. St Mirren obviously holding their own at Tynecastle, and Livingston getting a going over here at Fir Park.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, the job Stuart Kettlewell has done there. Just looking at the live table, you touched on it, Rory, probably just too late with their run. So they're on 36 points. They'll play the game more than Hibs. Hibs are in 6th spot on 40. Willie, something happening there?
Oh, it was just Kel Roos.
Oh, great save.
Yes, Al.
Good hit, Dre Wright. There's a good hit, Dre Wright. Just breaks them in the box, gets out his feet really quickly. Good right foot shot. Lovely save by Laidlaw, his near post with his left foot. St Johnstone putting on a bit of pressure. Still 0-0 with 5 minutes to go to half time.
Back to you, Willie.
Yeah, Kenny, it was just Kel Roos. He's got the ball under no pressure whatsoever, and he delays, and then he's put under pressure by Jones, and he goes by Jones, and then Christian Doidge puts him under pressure as well. I mean, from nothing. All he has to do is clear his lines. He has plenty of time to do that. He decides to dwell on it, and then he puts himself under pressure. He gets away with it, but he's very, very fortunate. It's rather silly goalkeeping, to be perfectly honest.
So the latest scores, Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0, Duke after 17 seconds, Hearts 0, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 3, Livingston 0, a double from Van Veen, 9 and 33 minutes, Max Johnson with the third goal on 34 minutes, and it's St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0 in the Championship. Arbroath 0, Dundee 0, they started 5 minutes late. There's that goal.
No, it's not a goal. No, they're shouting for a penalty. Jordan Jones on Johnny Hayes, who went down in the box, and the fans have decided that it was a definite penalty. But Kenny, if you want to read out the live league positions at any time, I'm quite happy to hear it.
Yeah, I will get there, Willie, don't worry. So
there's a wee bit going on over there. The referee's got to sort out. I think it's Johnny Hayes that has went down. Didn't see the incident, to be perfectly honest. It was right in front of a pillar, honest it was. The referee's having a word. I'm not sure who with. He's just calming everything down. It's all fine.
I think really it was Watson perhaps that steps in it. Yeah, was it Johnny Hayes you said was on the ground?
I think so, yeah.
That was just a bit of a coming together.
Yeah, Kenny, just on Motherwell's unlikely push into the top six.
Yes.
They've got Dundee United at home next. You wouldn't bet against them winning that. Last season, with the very last header of the ball it was from Ricky Lamy on the very last day before the split, they stole into the top six and took it away from Livingston. However, this season, if they were to beat Dundee United, it looks like a very difficult task if they need to go to Celtic Park and get something. So I think they may come unstuck in that fixture, but to think going into that fixture they had a chance of it would be quite incredible when Stuart Kettlewell took over.
Yeah, a fantastic job that Stuart Kettlewell has done there in the championship. Arbroath 0, Dundee 0, Ayr United 0, Morton 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Cove Rangers 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 2, Wraith Rovers 0. Yes, Alan?
Really good play by Dre right into Zach Gordon.
Off the crossbar at Tynecastle. Great move from Hearts. The ball came down the left-hand side. Kingsley threw the ball into the box. Andy Halliday making a late run in. He got up brilliantly. Managed to get his head on it, but just off the crossbar. Carson had no chance, but away to safety. Hearts are on the attack again, though. Kingsley drags his shot wide.
Yeah, a check at Pittodrie, Willie. What's happening there?
I don't know. I mean, it was David Watson didn't get booked with the yellow card. I could only maybe think that they were checking it. It could maybe have been more severe, but nothing's came of it. It's just the referee puts his hand to his ear.
We've got an equaliser. I tell you what, that's out or nothing. He's just in the edge of the box, way over him. Just try to check who that is. It looks as if it's Lewis McCann who produced that cross for Whiting. Just away over the far corner of the box, way with the left-hand side from him sitting. Just cuts in onto his right foot, and I think he catches the keeper out. Great goal.
What a chance for St Johnstone. Liam Gordon, a brilliant free kick. Gordon's free on his own. He's about inside the 6-yard box. Even if he just knocks it across the goal, he headers it over the bar. He's had two really good chances in this opening period, just before half-time.
Derek Ferguson's got a great game in his hands there. Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2. The home side were 2-0 up. Also in that league, Airdrie 0, Montrose 0, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 2, Kelty Hearts 0, Clyde 0, Peterhead 1, FC Edinburgh 0. And in League 2 this afternoon, Albion Rovers 0, Elgin City 0.
There's a chance! What a goal that is! Simon Murray, just from that long ball, playing over the top. Murray's onto it like a flash, and he has smashed it with his right foot beyond Remy Matthews into the back of the net on the 45th minute, right on the stroke of half-time. What a priceless goal that could be for Simon Murray. 1-0.
He takes it really well, Alan. Brilliant finishing. He just loves running, Simon Murray, doesn't he? I'm just wondering if he stopped yet after the celebration. But it's a huge goal.
It's still going.
Just a bundle of energy.
It was interesting watching his face there, wasn't it? The real passion. He knows how big that goal is.
It's brilliant though. The movement's excellent. It reads the flick on really well. He manages to just stab his head in front to get the touch to give him the edge, and he just unleashes the shot. It's what he was doing all season for Queen's Park. There was no doubt he was going to play his part when he replaced Eamon Brophy this afternoon.
It was Lewis McCann, just to clarify.
Lewis McCann in 44 minutes. Thanks, Derek. It's a two-piece there. Stirling Albion are in front now. Dale Carrick, he was in the score sheet midweek. He has put them 2-1 up now at home to East Fife. They were behind half-time. Airdrie 0, Montrose 0. Also half-time, Ayr United 0, Morton 0, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 2. And the other scorelines in League 2 I was giving you. Now half-time, Stenhousemuir 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Annan 3, Dumbarton 0, Albion Rovers 0, Elgin City 0, Stirling Albion 2, East Fife 1, as I told you. Stranraer 0, 4-0. That is now a half-time score. And in the English Premier League at lunchtime, Manchester United beat Everton by 2-0. McTominay on the score sheet for United. Aston Villa 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1, Newcastle 0, Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 1, Spurs 1, Brighton 1, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. And Southampton against Manchester City is the 5:30 kickoff. So just approaching.
Sorry, Kenny, that should have been a third for Dunfermline. Again, they were down that left-hand side. This time it was Chalmers finding Matthew Todd. He's only 6 yards out. He should be putting that into the back of net. You know, just steers it wide of that left-hand post. What a game.
Oh, another save.
Yeah, 4 goals already, right? Save.
Oh, yeah. Listen, there's been a couple of great saves by Kel Roos. For Aberdeen. That was Christian Doidge in the first instance. A magnificent volley, across the face of the goalkeeper. He could only parry it out. Watson was following up, and then Ross McCrory had to put in just a superb slide in. And then it was a header there. It was Connolly that got a header from the set piece. And again, Kel Roos diving to his left-hand side, just managed to, grapple it out of that top corner. So top-class goalkeeping here from the Aberdeen side, and it reflects how Kilmarnock have done since going behind early in the game. It's been a very, very good first half from them. They've certainly tested Aberdeen on a number of occasions now.
So one up there, yeah. Ross County are 1-0 up. That's half time. Alan just bring us at 2-2 in half time in your game, Derek.
Yep.
And Chick, you had a big chance.
Yeah, it was a chance for Accies. It was a wonderful ball played in. A couple of players at the far post. It looked as if it was going to go in, and there was a Cove Rangers boot. I'm not quite sure who it was who got it cleared over the line. The Accies fans were already anticipating celebration. This has been some game, Kenny, as you might imagine. They're getting really rattled into one another. No mercy in the tackles, and there's been a couple of stoppages in the game. Of course, we've lost the goalkeeper, Scott Fox. He's had to be able, eventually walked off rather. So he didn't need the stretcher, which was some good news, but he was replaced by Kyle Gourley. And actually, Cove have played very well in this first half. Still 0-0.
Half-time at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Okay, thanks to Willie Mill. Let's get back into the championship then. It kicked off slightly late at Gayfield, a Broth against Dundee. What's happening, Amy?
Very little up until just about 10 seconds ago, Kenny. I was actually thinking about just counting to see if there is 3,000 Dundee fans actually in the ground, because there's been very little action. But again, Paul McMillan with a lovely slice. It just landed to him so neatly, positioned perfectly right behind him, and it was destined for the top corner, but it's just swiveled away. So we've only got probably a couple of minutes left, but very, very little action here at Gayfield. A bit tasty in the midfield, but other than that, very little goal-mouth action.
As things stand then, Dundee top off the table on goal difference ahead of Queen's Park, and Dundee do have a game in hand, but it's so tight. 54 points apiece for these two. Partick Thistle 51, Ayr United 50. Inverness carry Thistle on a good run of late on 45 points. Very, very tight at the bottom. As we said, Cove Rangers, as looking at the live table, 2 points adrift at the bottom of Hamilton Accies. It's goalless in that game. Chick's telling us a really good feisty game there. Arbroath, they are level at the moment, as Amy was telling us, against Dundee. They've got that cushion there on 32 points, 3 ahead of Accies and 5 ahead of
Firth Park, Kenny. It's Motherwell 3, Livingston 0. I've never seen Livingston so depleted of confidence. All their big players, the likes of Devlin, Nubley, Holt, very, very poor. They haven't had to work overly hard for their 3 goals, but it is Motherwell 3, Livingston 0.
Okay, thanks to Rory Loy there. So just looking at the live table, Livy a point outside that, a point behind Hibs, who play tomorrow. Full coverage of that game on Sports. And the late Charles and Mother, probably just too late, but my goodness, what a job Stuart Kettlewell is doing there at Fir Park. They are 3-0 up on Livingston, a double from Van Veen. What a season he's having. 9 and 33 minutes. Max Johnson, after a VAR check for offside, it was apparently nowhere close to being offside, on 34 minutes with the third goal there. Duke on 17 seconds fired the Dons ahead, but Willie telling us a couple of key saves from Roos, the Aberdeen keeper, to keep Kelly out in that one. In the lunchtime kick-off, it finished Celtic 3, Rangers 2. It was a terrific game. A double from Kyogo, 26 and 62. Jota on 73. James Tavernier on 45 and 79. He has now scored 100 goals for Rangers, but that is of little consequence today. Celtic stretching the lead at the top of the table to 12 points. More reaction to that later on Sports, and we're with you through until 7 o'clock this evening, with some new guests joining us just around about 5:30. Some fans will also be joining us. We had a lot of fans in the programme last week giving us their thoughts. Certainly some Hearts fans were very, very unhappy last week looking at their game returning from Rugby Park. They were very disappointed.
That's half-time here, Kenny.
Half-time check.
What did I say it was called?
I'm trying to remember myself now.
ZLX Stadium. It's Hamilton 0, Cove 0.
Fantastic. All the half-time scores and reaction to come on Sports Sound. You're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland.
Chance! And it's a goal!
All the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's the second goal!
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Join Craig Levine and me, Amy Irons, for the podcast that guides you through the cutthroat world of football management.
You'll be sacked in the morning.
Sacked in the Morning is back with brand new episodes.
Did you take it a bit easier after your health scare?
That's a good question.
You might have interviewed me.
We've got some top guests lined up. Davy Martindale.
I keep telling the media the boy that does the recruitment at Livingston's brilliant. We've not clicked on, it's me here.
Australian manager Graham Arnold.
A lot of the players would have walked away from the World Cup thinking they belong. You know, most of Scotland would have watched us because half of our players were from Scotland.
Sacked in the Morning. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
Lots of action across the country in the opening 45 minutes. We kicked off at 11:30 this morning. It was a 12:30 start at Celtic Park. Celtic beating Rangers by 3-2. Let's then get to the first of our 3 o'clock kickoffs. Hearts against St Mirren at Tynecastle. For us, Michael Stewart.
Yeah, it's a game that's huffed and puffed so far, to be perfectly honest, Kenny. We spoke of the fact that Hearts are on a very poor run of form, 4 league defeats in a row, looking to arrest that here against St Mirren, who are potentially capable of going a point behind them if they were to win. But neither side has really been able to fashion a good enough opportunity to get their noses in front, and as half-time has been blown, it's sitting 0-0 here. Their side will be needing to do a lot better in the second half if they're looking to pick up the 3 points and get themselves a much needed win.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's been a real struggle for Hearts of late. As a consequence, they have lost their 3rd spot in the league. That 3rd spot has been lost to Aberdeen, and so far so good for the Dons this afternoon, Willie.
I would say up to a point, Kenny. I think the scoreline is fantastic. I'm sure Barry Robson will be happy with it, but I don't think the fans will be particularly happy with the performance since that very early 17-second goal. I mean, when you get a start like that, you expect the home side to take the game to the opposition and dominate, and that hasn't happened so far. Barry Robson's been content to ask his back five to sit as a back five and make it really difficult for Kilmarnock, giving Kilmarnock far too much possession. Derek McInnes will be more than happy, with the performance of his team. They've had a lot of possession. They've grown into the game. The Duke goal was fantastic for Aberdeen. Majowski setting them up, absolutely. But Kilmarnock has grown in confidence towards the half-time. In fact, they've had 2 great opportunities and 2 fabulous saves from Kel Roos in goal. Christian Doyes, the first one, taking the volley, right-hand side, tight angle it was, but he's hitting it across the goalkeeper, who can only parry it out. Dave Watson's following up, and Ross McCrory's got to make a magnificent challenge to stop the ball ending up in the back of the net, and then a header at the near post. Donnelly rising above the Aberdeen defence, getting a bullet header. Looks as though it's going in to Roos's top left-hand corner, but somehow the goalkeeper manages to get up there with a absolutely sensational acrobatic save to keep it out. So a lot of hope, I would suggest, for Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock. I think for Aberdeen, delighted to go in at half-time. Absolutely, but the fans will be looking for more in the second half.
Yeah, so the Dons in relative control there at Pittodrie. The home side in complete control at Fir Park, Rory Lloyd.
Yes, they are indeed. Motherwell have been absolutely ruthless. I don't want to take anything away from them. However, the chances they have created, you can't speak too highly of Livingston's defending. And that all started on 4 minutes when Van Veen did really well in the midfield area, played in Max Johnson one-on-one with the goalkeeper. However, Shamal George did make a save. Max Johnson would make up for this later on in the game. On to the 10th minute, and James Furlong with a marauding run down the left-hand side. He lifted his head, he played in. Kevin Van Veen, one touch with the right, swept it home with his left. A fantastic finish into the roof of the net. And then Livingston tried their best to get back into the game. Newbley couldn't quite get on the end of a Stephen Bradley cross with the volley just out of his reach. Van Veen doubled his and Motherwell's lead in 33 minutes with a low finish at the front post, but I have to say Shamal George will be very disappointed with conceding it. His hands went straight into his gloves after conceding that. And then 2 minutes later, a mix-up in the defence led to Max Johnston tapping the ball effectively into the empty net with his left foot. VAR did get involved after an offside flag went up. However, the goal was given. Livingston extremely direct, extremely devoid of confidence. And it's Motherwell 3, Livingston 0.
Yeah, what a half-time scoreline for the home side there at Fir Park. Alan Preston, you could have witnessed a huge goal in terms of the battle to beat the drop there at McDermott Park.
Yeah, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1 at half-time, Ken. And St Johnstone's dreadful home form continues, although they started the game reasonably well. Witherspoon with a free kick right on the head of Liam Gordon, and he headed just over. 15 minutes, Stevie May, lovely layoff to Montgomery. His shot across the goal, there were no takers. Eamon Brophy then had a shot just wide, but unfortunately he's to have the effects of a groin strain, and he was replaced by Simon Murray. And Murray it was who gave us the only goal in this opening period so far. It was a long ball flicked on, and Murray's onto it 17 yards out, right hand side of the box, and he smashed it by Remy Matthews. What a goal, what a strike. And it's given Ross County the half-time lead. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1.
Thanks to Alan Preston. Let's then get into the championship. The leaders Dundee away at Arbroath this afternoon there for us. Amy Canavan.
Yes, Kenny, that delayed kick-off here for Arbroath v Dundee due to the many fans filtering their way through the Gayfield gates. Around 5,000 expected here. Hopefully soon we will get some clarification on that. 3,000 away fans. For all their efforts, though, turning out in their numbers, they haven't really been rewarded at all. Very little in the way of goalmouth action. Paul McMillan, one change from last weekend. 7-0 thrashing off Aki's, actually. He's come the closest with a lovely slicing strike after the ball landed nicely for him. It just skimmed wide on the swivel. It may have even nicked the corner of the upright. But other than that, not a lot to report from Gayfield. It remains goalless.
OK, thanks to Amy Canavan. Lots of talking points so far in your game. Chick Young, Hamilton Accies against Cove Rangers.
Absolutely, Kenny. I think the one adjective I would choose would be meaty. Tackles have been flying in here. Desperate game for both sides, particularly for Cove, who really need to win this one. They have genuine hopes of surviving in the championship this season. They played well actually at times without really threatening Ryan Fulton in the Aki's goal, but there was a blow for them when Scott Fox was stretchered off. The ball ended up in the back of the net. It was a bizarre set of circumstances. Benny Ashley Seal broke through. The goalkeeper came out, came off him, came back to Seal and ended up in the back of the net. The referee decided, Mike Roncon's the referee, decided that it was a foul against on Scott Fox, and Fox actually was horizontal for some time. He was treated, the stretchers were brought on, he was able to get up and walk off, I'm delighted to say, but Kyle Gourley took his place in goal, and he's hung on to a clean sheet throughout the rest of the first half. You do feel that something has to give in this game. There's no lack of appetite for the battle, but just no real quality in front of goal, which means it's Accies 0, Cove Rangers 0.
The top two in League One are meeting this afternoon. Falkirk against Dunfermline, and my goodness, have delivered, Derek Ferguson.
Kenny, I've needed a little pick-me-up after that result at lunchtime, and this has been the perfect game. It's been brilliant. It's Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2 at the moment. The home side off to a flyer, taking the lead 8 minutes in. It was brilliant play for Morrison, finding Aidan Nisbet in space in the box. The guy told him it was a clever finish as well from 12 yards out. The Bairns doubled their lead in 33 minutes. Ruben Burrell slamming home from close range from a Mehmet save, and it was lucky that it broke into his path, but he made no mistake. The Pars needed to reply. They did so 2 minutes later. McCann with the cross, finding the incoming Craig Whiting to steer home at the front post area. Incredibly, the Pars equalised in 44 minutes. This time Lewis McCann, the provider, producing a goal for himself. It was a vicious shot at the angle, 18 yards out into the back of the net. Great atmosphere here, brilliant game. Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2.
Yeah, it sounds a cracker. Just a quick run through the scores in the top flight. They finished Celtic 3, Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 0, St Mirren 0, Motherwell 3, Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1. In the Championship, Arbroath 0, Dundee 0, Ayr United 0, Morton 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Cove Rangers 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 2, Wraith Rovers 0. In League 1, Airdrie 0, Montrose 0, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 2. As Derek was telling us, a cracking game. Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2, Kelty Hearts 0, Clyde 0, Peterhead 1, FC Edinburgh 0, and in League 2, Albion Rovers 0, Elgin City 0, Annan 3, Dumbarton 0, Stennismuir 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stirling Albion 2, East Fife 1, Stranraer 0, Forfar 0. Lots of talking points, Leanne Crichton, this afternoon. I mean, so many things have been happening. One thing I have noticed this afternoon, VAR not really having the impact it's had in recent weeks, which is a good thing. I know I should have learned my lesson on that, but some interesting games, Leanne. The turnaround at Motherwell has been absolutely amazing, hasn't it?
It's been excellent, really good to see, really pleased for Stuart Kettlewell. Not only because I'm at Motherwell and working at the club, but I just think he's a good guy. He was a good guy when he was working here in the media. I think he speaks really well. I think he totally gets the game. I think he went in and he took that job at Motherwell under probably, the illusion that he was looking to find a way back into the game, and then by default finds himself in a managerial position to replace Stevie Hamill, and he had an awful lot of work to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the signings that have come in the January window have really strengthened the team. Certainly when you look at Butcher and Casey as a two, but also when you look at the likes of Mac Johnson now finding his way into a starting 11 position. He's made the players that were already there better. I think he's given them that belief, whatever that foundation is that they've looked at, and they've stripped a lot of things back. But it's brilliant, and it's not just defensive performances. They're scoring goals. There's a fluidity to the way that they're playing. But when you speak about VAR, that was a goal that was disallowed at Fir Park today that would have kept it, where the next goal was really important at 2-0. VAR intervenes, the offside decision that was given is overruled and the goal stands, so it does play its part when it comes to those types of decisions.
And a big part.
It's important that we get it right.
Yeah, so Motherwell cruising by 3-0. Let's find out what plays out in the second half. Stay tuned to Open All Mics.
All the grounds, all the goals, all the news.
This is Open All Mics from Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. An early chance in the second half for you, Michael Stewart?
Yeah, it was, but it just cut to the advert when I was just about to say there's a chance here at Tynecastle. Stephen Kingsley broke into the box really well. He played it across the edge. It went just behind Shankland and Forrest. In at the back was coming Michael Smith. And rather than keeping it on the deck, he just got under it a little bit. And it was a good height for Trevor Carlson to get his two hands on it and push it away. But yeah, it was a good opportunity for Hearts there. Still 0-0.
We have a goal in the second half. Ayr United 0, Morstan 1. Callum Waters on 47 minutes there. So before it gets too busy, I know Willie Miller's been desperate for me to read out the league table. So Aberdeen.
Kenny, just let me stop you right there. Go and tell him to stop sending me tables via text.
Well, listen,
too much on in front of me here.
I think he could be doing it all day and he still wouldn't pay back what you've done to him. I think that'd be fair to say. 47 points. The Dons have got one clear now of Hearts. And just to go back to what I said, Barry Robson took over at the end of January. At that point, Hearts played 22, 38 points. Aberdeen played 23, 29 points. This afternoon, as things stand, the Dons are now above Hearts, Willie. You've not been overly impressed with the performance today, but my goodness, what a job Barry Robson has done.
Oh, absolutely, and we all know that the most important thing in football is results. And he's certainly given Aberdeen that. He's given them a new strength. And you've got to remember, he's without Graham Chinney this afternoon in the middle of the pitch. The kind of a heartbeat since the window closed in January. It hasn't been great since they've taken the lead, but at the same time, if it finishes 1-0 and they take the 3 points and they manage to leapfrog Hearts, and what a turnaround that has been. Then absolutely Barry Robson has played a huge part in that. He seems to be perhaps a little bit conservative in the first half after taking the early lead by asking his back five to make sure that they're solid at the back. I would like to see them being a little bit more adventurous, but you can't complain, can you? Well, you can complain. You want your team to win, obviously, but you want them to do it with a little bit of style. And so far this afternoon, the style really hasn't been there, apart from that opening goal by Duke. But Barry Robson, yeah, I mean, he's there, he's in the frame. His addition is getting better and better for the job permanent. We'll just have to wait and see where that goes.
Yeah, he's doing really, really well. So staying on the theme of managers, here's a quick quiz. I was sent an email during the week. So obviously some managers losing their job in the English top flight this week.
2-0!
Yep.
What a goal, it's Cancola. It's a corner. It's just knocked down to about the penalty spot. And Cancola runs onto it. Right foot lashes it beyond Matthews. He's got no chance. What a start for Ross County. St Johnstone now, Ross County 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is a terrific afternoon so far for County. So looking at the live table, Dundee United play tomorrow, so they'd have a game in hand on County and Kilmarnock at the bottom. But Dundee United 22 points, Ross County 27, Kilmarnock 28. So this could be a huge afternoon for Malky Mackay's side. We had him on the extended sports sound last week. That, of course, was ahead of their game against Celtic. They actually performed quite well in that game, I felt. But he's been very confident all season, particularly since January, when he added striking options to his squad that they could get themselves away from the foot of the table. And this could be a huge scoreline for his side this afternoon. 2-0 up. They are now away at St Johnstone. Down in England, Aston Villa 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Traore with a goal there on 48 minutes. That's you right up to date with all the latest scores. So I'm going to go back quickly to this quiz because I know what happens. Goals will start flying in. So I got an email during the week. Managers losing their job down south. So this is not about how long managers have been in the job. It's about how long managers have lasted into the season. There are 3 Scots in the top 10 list in England, the top flight in England, who have lasted the fewest amount of days into a season. Who are these 3 Scots?
This season?
No, just down in the English Premier League. For any season, ever. 3 Scots are in the top 10 of the fewest amount of days into a new season before they lose their job. Alan, you're usually good at this.
Oh, sorry, I'm watching this game here.
Kenny, I can't even.
It's a good hit, really good hit by Dre Wright. Dylan Smith it is, gets his head in the way for a corner. St Johnstone putting on a bit of pressure. Good clearance by the young lad.
And Morrison just curling one just over the bar there. They've started really well into the second half, Falkirk. So they have
Kenny.
Yep.
Scoop's saying Billy McKinley.
No, Scoop's wrong.
Was Jim Jeffries on it?
He's not happy with that.
No Jim Jeffries. 3 Scots in the top 10, unfortunately. One of them lasted 9 days into the new season. 1 Scot lasted 9 days. Season 2004-2005. Yeah, take a wee check.
Oh, the goalkeeper saved it. Carry on.
Yeah, so 9 days into season 2004-2005, a Scot lost his job. 9 days into a new season. It's a toughie. I think it's a toughie.
Certainly is.
But if any man's going to get it, it may well be Alan Preston.
It's a goal for St Mirren.
Wow.
Curtis Main. It's a ball over the top. Kai rolls and Curtis Main are jostling for it. Defender doesn't do great. The ball then lands at Curtis Main's feet, and I tell you, left foot on a half volley into the bottom corner. Ross Stewart's got no chance. It's a great finish from Curtis Main. The referee, Matthew McDermott, is obviously waiting in VAR just to check it, but I think it's a goal. I don't think anything's going to be given to disallow it.
A slight push maybe.
We'll wait for the replay, Kenny. I was across one of the other screens there just as it was happening, just watching the celebrations coming in just now.
I'm taking the Derek Ferguson school of seeing that. That was a goal.
Didn't look too much in it, Leanne, did there?
No, I don't see any issues, if I'm honest.
There's nothing in it.
No,
it's just
nothing at all. No.
It's attacker and defender. The ball's
both
in between the two of them. They're just jostling for it. There's nothing in it. It's a goal. There's no doubt in my mind. But I mean, it's a really good finish of Curtis Main. It's an absolute sucker punch for Hearts, and they're going to have to react.
Yeah, he's a man that's full of confidence right now, and what a fantastic.
This is taking a wee while though. You know, in terms of we've all looked at it so far.
If Kai rolls goes to ground.
No, it's a goal. It's a goal. You know, and I've got to say, I think that could have been done quicker.
Right, so it does sort of clip his arm when the ball comes over the top. Then there's a slight push in the bottom of the back, but there's nothing in either.
Yeah, but it gets to the stage where I mean, look,
off the back of him, he gets himself in a bit of a pickle, Michael, just because he loses the flight of the ball.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. The defender doesn't deal with it well enough. You know, look, I've watched it in real time. That's once. I don't need to really see a replay on it. Defender, as Leanne's just said there, in a bit of an awkward position. The attacker, what Curtis Main does, he makes it awkward. He's physical, and that's it. Football, there's contact. It happens. You can't, give a free kick every time there's a touch between the players.
Where does
Hearts
this?
at the other end. Lawrence Shankland's getting to the edge of the box. He's got runners either side of him. He's into the box. He has a straight way over the bar.
Michael, where does this leave Robbie Neilson? How big will the pressure be on him tonight?
It'll be big. There's no doubt, because the fans are not happy. And look, as much as I'm, on here defending what's been done, Robbie knows full well that if they miss out in third, the fans are going to go absolutely nuts. But the bigger picture is, when you look at where Hearts have been to where they are, there's been big improvements that have been made. But the short term right now, they need to turn things around quickly, because otherwise the natives will be restless.
Oh, Leighton Clarkson is away. He's 1v1. He's 20 yards out. He's trying to get on his right. He's tight to Johnny Hayes comes up. Oh, it's clear. On the break, Aberdeen. Big chance for Leighton Clarkson. He just didn't have the legs to go by the defender. I think it was Ali Busu that he was trying to go past. The good defending. Johnny Hayes trying to support, but by that time Kilmarnock had the defenders back. But Kilmarnock still keen to get forward, but leaving themselves a little bit exposed there, and Aberdeen just not quick enough to take advantage.
Kenny, back to your quiz question. I'm going with Paul Sturrock, Southampton.
Well done, Michael. He is number one in the list.
2004.
Yeah, I've got, and also I like this name on Twitter, Grump Your Face Man, as he calls himself. He said Craig Brewster. No, he is not on the list. There are two more Scots, one in second place, 98-99. He lasted 12 days into that season. A very well-known Scottish player and manager, and also another Scot, number 9 in the list, lasted 23 days, 2004-2005. Keep your guesses coming. So
just
Paul
while
Sturrock,
we're thinking
number
about
9.
there,
Yep.
Kenny, a little update from Fir Park. David Martindale's only made the one change, which I'm quite surprised at. It's Morgan Boys on in defence for the Dominican Republic international, Louis De Lucas, who looked shaky, I must say. Paul McGinn was feeding balls down the side of him, not difficult balls particularly to deal with, but it was causing Livingston all sorts of problems. Morgan Boys has come on for him. Martindale obviously feels that they were enough of an attacking threat to give the other players a chance to go and make an impression in this second half. They have changed to a 4-2-3-1. Newbley now peeled out to the left, and Curtis Guthrie's playing through the middle, but they do look at 6s and 7s at the back.
Rory, you'll have seen this before, wouldn't you? When a side just drains of confidence, and that's what you're describing here today.
Yes, I mean, it's one of those as well where the ball...
It's 2-0 here at Tynecastle, and it's Mark O'Hara. I tell you, it's just terrible defending. You watch this replay, it just comes into the box. Mark O'Hara's inside the 6-yard box. He looks unmarked, and it's just bouncing around, and he knocks into the back of the net. 2-0.
There's about 8 maroon jerseys, Michael, in front of him.
Just watch him.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it. Far too easy.
Alan Preston, I want you to talk to me about the position Robbie Neilson could find himself in. How precarious is his position?
I think he's going to struggle. I really do. The fans won't accept that. I can't see Anne Budge pulling the trigger, to be honest, but I would expect there's liable to be demonstrations outside the stadium after the game tonight. Wouldn't like to be Robbie right now, because it'll be... There you go, you can hear I'm in Perth.
All right, listen, apologies for that language. Obviously, we're very close to where the fans are situated. Tensions, emotions are spilling over there, so apologies for anything that you're hearing coming through.
The thing is, Robbie Neilson can take the blame for that, but in terms of the performances overall, but the numbers that Hearts have got inside the penalty area there, it's a long throw in. 2 players in front, 1 player in front of a St Mirren player, 1 player behind. Neither of them win the header. The flick on comes in and Mark O'Hara strolls onto the ball unmarked inside. What can Robbie Neilson do about that?
I mean, the problem, and you're right, Liam, but the problem is that Hearts are playing with such little confidence,
I know,
and they're so brittle that you've got... What happens is, and look, it happens here at Tynecastle, when the atmosphere's like this, some people just can't handle it, and they go in within their shell, and they end up freezing at times, and that's what a lot of that is there. It's concentration lacking, and it's also players freezing a little bit and not really wanting to go and take responsibility, and ends up where players are getting free headers inside the box.
But Michael, it's all very well, we can talk about the players, but yourself and Alan identified problems in the midfield last week, right? That's down to the manager. You talked about the balance in that midfield, things that other sides were capitalising on. It's not worked today, has it? The changes.
It's not just last week. The problem... and look, I just said to you, they're trying to mask the issue until the summer, because the problem there has been Beningham's been out for an eternity, but the guys that they brought in on the whole, in the middle of the park, haven't hit the ground running. They haven't been as good as what you would have wanted. There's two areas of the park that Hearts have struggled in terms of the recruitment this year. It's the right side of the defence, and Hill's coming in sort of... He's shored it up. I wouldn't say he's outstanding, by the way. I think he's okay, but he's shored it up a little bit in the middle of the park. And they didn't address the middle of the park in January. They addressed the right side of the defence. Now, they still need a right back or a right wing back as well, depending on how they want to play. And they still need to sort out the midfield. And those issues are going to maintain until the summer transfer window.
Well, there are Hearts fans leaving. Alan Preston, would Hearts have the third biggest budget in the league, do you think?
It'll be close. It will certainly be close. Aberdeen's is a decent budget as well. It'll be between Aberdeen and Hearts, I certainly would say. But I think Hearts' January window was poor. Bringing the young lad in from Newcastle 18, you know, and then even bringing Hill in. You've got Lewis Nielsen.
Oh, Majowski's in as he got his scored left foot. Oh, it's Duke again at the back post. They're asking for offside. The flag didn't go up. Majowski, Duke, that combination once again gives Aberdeen the second goal. Majowski down the left-hand side. A little dink pass, I think it was Clarkson. Little dink pass over the top of a static Kilmarnock defence. Majowski doesn't catch it properly with the left foot, but it squirms across the face of the goal. Duke's following in to tap it into the back of the net. A brace for the man that can't get a game in the Hearts team.
I think that
you want to play one up front.
Listen, you did say that, Alan. I put that question to you a good few weeks ago. I asked you, would any of these players get into the Hearts side? You said no.
No, at that time, they'd not just been beaten, and also the way Hearts are playing, they play up front with Shanklin's on his own, and at that time, Shanklin was scoring goals. You're always going to get goal scorers, Kenny, that'll get into teams.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, as a striker going to get in because you're scoring goals, Hearts don't play with 2 up. They don't play with 3 up. They play with 1 up, and that one was Shanklin.
Change your formation then.
Well, we've been saying that for ages, Willie.
Yeah, something clearly needs to change.
Yeah. I think amid your tears for Hearts, you want to be giving a bit of credit to St Mirren, who are now 1 point behind Hearts.
I was just about to say that, Chick, and the midfield area for St Mirren is very strong. Today they've got Gogic, O'Hara and Bacchus in there, so they're very strong in that area. But, you know, what a job he's doing.
By the way, there's a red card here.
Here.
Robert Snodgrass has been sent off. Second yellow card.
Wow.
Lunging in on Curtis Main. He's trying to track back. He doesn't get the ball. Takes out Main. Second yellow, red card. He's off.
Bad to worse for Hearts. Check what's happening.
It's a goal for Cove Rangers. They've given themselves a lifeline. It's a substitute. We're converting, and what a run down the right-hand side. Dodged past a couple of players and struck a low shot beyond Ryan Fulton. It's gone a bit quiet from the Accies fans around me here, but it's Cove Rangers who might be mounting a rescue mission here. They've gone ahead. It's Accies 0, Cove Rangers 1.
Yeah, it could be a big scoreline. So latest goals, Albion Rovers 2, Elgin City 0. Joe Bevan on 58 minutes. East 5 have equalised. Away Stirling Albion. Aaron Steele on 52. Airdrie have got a goal up at home to Montrose. Gabby McGill with a goal there on 60 minutes. Ayr United have equalised 1-1 now at home to Morton. Frankie Musonda on 62 minutes. Half-time score of interest to one of our pundits today at Atalanta 0, Bologna 0. Half-time in Serie A. Confirmation, second goal for Duke on 59 minutes. That's just coming through. Ayr United now 2-1 up away at Brentford. Isak with a goal on 61 minutes. Confirmation that red card, second yellow for Snodgrass on 62 minutes. And as Chick was telling us, a big goal for Cove Rangers. Louis Longstaff with that goal on 57 minutes. Hamilton Accies 0, Cove Rangers 1. Rory Loy.
Just on that second yellow, Kenny, for me, never a second yellow. Wins the ball. Yeah.
Chick, you threw me there. You shouted goal Rangers. You should be goal Cove.
Goal
you lost the plot,
Derek.
I saw her goal Rangers.
Hearing. I said penalty Rangers.
Leanna, it's interesting you say that because Robert Snodgrass doesn't complain. You know, he slides in. I mean, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to see.
I think
from
initially
here,
when he makes a challenge, he's pointing that he's played the ball. I just wonder if he stood up and thought it's a second yellow. What would be the point in protesting it?
Oh, what a save! That should have been it. Really good play by Sims. Cuts it back to Murray. The keeper comes out, makes himself big. Keep a great save, keep St Johnstone in it.
Wow, it's been
that's a magnificent effort from Matty Pollock there. The cross from the right-hand side, it's headed out, he's on the edge of the box, takes in the half volley, it just takes a got paint off the post. He's so unlucky not to see that hit the back of the net, top corner.
Right, so I'm going to run through the score lines for you. Lunchtime kickoff, Celtic 3, Rangers 2, Aberdeen 2, Kilmarnock 0, a double for Duke, 17 seconds, and the second on 59 minutes. Hearts 0, St Mirren 2, Curtis Main on 52, Mark O'Hara on 57, Robert Snodgrass sent off for the home side. Motherwell cruising at home to Livingston, 3-0 the lead there, a double from Van Veen, 9 and 33. Max Johnson with a third goal there on 34 minutes. Potentially a huge result for Ross County this afternoon. 2-0 they lead away at St Johnstone. Simon Murray and David Cancola with the goals there. In the Championship, Arbroath 0, Dundee 0, Ayr United 1, Morton 1, Hamilton Accies 0, Cove Rangers 1. A huge goal there for Paul Hartley's side. Inverness County Thistle 2, Wraith Rovers 0. In League One, Airdrie 1, Montrose 0. A goal has just got in. Alloa are now 2-1 down at home to Queen of the South.
It's a penalty. Accies get themselves back into this with the chance to do so. Handball away in the far side. The referee, Mike Roncon, immediately pointed to the spot, and Accies will have the chance to equalise here. Applause from the supporters. Long way from me. It did look like a penalty kick, I have to say. Not too many complaints from the Cove players either. I think it's Stevie Lawson who's going to step up. No, it's not going to be Stevie Lawson. There's a player just changing positions here. I'll tell you that in a minute, Kenny. But a chance for Accies. And what a blow this would be to Cove after they went ahead.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Louis Longstaff. Taking an absolute age to decide who's taking this penalty kick. But Accies have the chance to go and level it. Eventually it's sorted out. Here we go, right-footed. Goal! Accies are on level. It's Connor Smith from the spot, and it's Accies 1. Cove Rangers 1.
That's another big goal this afternoon. So many of them. Confirmation that Alloa goal scorer Scott Taggart on 65. Alloa 1, Queen of the South 2, Brentford 1, Newcastle United 3. What a run Newcastle are on. Callum Wilson with a goal there on 65 minutes, just to confirm
Kenny,
the scoreline. Yeah, on you, Michael.
You know, here's a talking point, right? And I'm sure we had it when VAR came in the first week or two. Now, I understand, obviously, VAR doesn't get involved in yellow cards, but I said it at the time, if there's a contentious second yellow, why not use it? Why not use VAR? Because you're sending a player off. Use VAR to decide whether it's the right decision or not. If this is, you know, you look at VAR,
if it's a clear and obvious mistake, yeah, Michael, you would think so.
Yeah, I mean, look, okay, then it opens up the whole debate about, oh well, you can't have every yellow card being looked at. Okay, don't. But if it's a second yellow that leads to a red card, get involved. Use it then. A sending off is a massive turning point in a game. A massive turning point.
So if the first yellow, Michael, wasn't a yellow.
Rory, this was the exact debate we had the first time round. There's not a perfect world, but I think making sure that somebody who gets a second yellow gets sent off doesn't happen is better. Then I hear what you're saying. What happens if the first yellow is poor and the second one's a definite? Okay, that's an anomaly, that happens. But it's better to make sure that we eliminate some mistakes rather than just allowing them all to happen.
It would make sense. You would have to say it would make sense, Leanne, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it's certainly game-changing moments in unfortunate circumstances. Now, I think when you look at it over the course of a weekend, certain decisions that yellow cards are awarded, certain referees are far more lenient than others. We get that. The consistency levels might go up and down. But that, for me today, like Robert Snodgrass being sent off for a second yellow, which I've only seen it back once, and I'm pretty confident he wins the ball clearly, is never a second yellow and could have a huge bearing on the outcome of the game. Now I know Hearts are getting beat, but certainly the next goal's huge.
Yeah, just to go through the scorelines, latest scorelines: League One, Airdrie 1, Montrose 0, Alloa 1, Queen of the South 2, Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2, Kelty Hearts 0, Clyde 0, Peterhead 1, FC Edinburgh 0.
Stephen Kingsley with a free kick just over the crossbar. He struck it really well. Trevor Carson was scrambling across, but just over the crossbar.
In League 2, Albion Rovers 2, Elgin City 0, Annan 3, Dumbarton 0, Stennismuir 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stirling Albion 2, East 5 2, Stranraer 0, Forfar 0, and in England, full-time scoreline: Man United 2, Everton 0, Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 0. That Newcastle third goal was ruled out by VAR, so it's still Brentford 1, Newcastle 2, Fulham 0, West Ham United 1, Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 1, Spurs 1, Brighton 1, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0, 5:30 kick-off, Southampton against Manchester City. Check, you're saying, and you're quite right, we should give St Mirren an awful lot of credit. I remember doing the programme this summer when they were knocked out of the League Cup away at Airdrie. It was that night. You know, the turnaround under Stephen Robinson has been absolutely sensational.
Yeah, and I think Alan earlier on we were talking about potential managers of the year. I'm sure Ange Postecoglou will get most of the nods, but you've got to say Stephen Robinson, what a job he's done at St Mirren. You know, I know they've got Rangers to play, still to play in one of the remaining fixtures before the split, but it's really achievable now that they could be in the top 6, and all the worries that you have as a St Mirren fan, if you finish in the bottom half, you could still get relegated. That would all be blown away, and the incentive of chasing a European place. They've done absolutely brilliantly. I think the signings have been inspired, and I think all credit to the management. And we've discussed this before, you know, he's got a very, when you see the number of players, particularly you go to a Celtic game and you see the number of people on the pitch before the game, warming the players up, they're very limited backroom staff at Paisley, and they've done an incredible job.
What a save.
Yes, Al.
A brilliant hit for Phillips by St Johnstone. Great save, diving to his right hand side. Ross Laidlaw down, good right hand to it, knocks it away. Brilliant hit, good save.
So from third spot down, Aberdeen 47 points, Hearts 45, St Mirren within a point now of Hearts if things stay the same. Hibs in 6th, they play tomorrow, 40 points. Livingston 39, Motherwell 36. Looking at the live table this afternoon, I'm sure we'll hear from Hearts fans this evening on Sports Sound. We are on till 7 o'clock. We're trying to get more fans involved. We need to know what you're thinking about your team, the game, the manager, the season, the prospects for next season, perhaps European football, perhaps it's avoiding relegation. So much at stake for so many clubs this afternoon. You've got a bit quiet, Derek Ferguson, after a sensational first half.
It was. Aidan Nisbet just again went really close there, just the edge of the box. No, they're still going at it, hammer and tongs, they're flinging everything at it. Maybe not, obviously, not as many chances, clear-cut chances, but they're going to make some changes well. But no, it's been a terrific game, even in the second half. Yet, not had the same goals the first half, but still a brilliant watch, Kenny.
A few people had a few other guesses on Twitter. Somebody, Steve Keane at Blackburn Rovers. That's from Sean. That's the Scottish manager that has lasted the fewest amount of days into a new season. Paul Sturrock, 2004 and 5, Southampton, 9 days into a season. Any final guesses? 2 other Scots, 2 high-profile Scots.
The boy at Villa, McDonald, Kevin McDonald.
No, way higher profile than that.
Graham Souness.
Graham Souness, good shout, Michael. Graham Souness, Blackburn Rovers, 2004-2005, lasted 23 days. And at number 2 in the list, perhaps the greatest Scottish player of all time, perhaps. There's a debate.
Kenny Dalglish.
Kenny Dalglish. Yep. Kenny Dalglish, 98-99, lasted 12 days at Newcastle United. So Willie Miller.
There's a chance for White to seal it. White's through. Goes round. I think he dives. In fact, he's got the ball. No penalty.
He's not really complaining, Alan, is he? I mean, he's not really complaining, Leanne, is he?
It's never a penalty.
No, he looks in disbelief actually at his own decision not to get the
really
shot
poor.
off early.
There's a flick on. He looked offside, but it's a flick off for the St Johnstone defender. He's clean through. He's got to score, really.
Morton are down to 10 men. George Oakley sent off on 72 minutes. So Willie Miller, what's happening at Pittodrie? He look done and dusted up there.
It looks certainly like that. I don't think Kilmarnock have got enough creativity to cause Aberdeen any issues whatsoever. They're looking pretty solid, Aberdeen, when they need to defend, and I think it's a struggle for the visitors. And Aberdeen always looking dangerous on the break. Kilmarnock having to open up and throw players forward, and there's big gaps now appearing. 2-0 up, cruising a little bit, I would suggest. Very disciplined performance, I would suggest, as well. I think Barry Robson will be delighted with both defence. Well, every department, to be honest. The defensive looked solid, midfield creative, Clarkson in particular, and of course that man Duke up top, just lethal in front of goal.
Yeah, double for Duke this afternoon. Let's then get to Rory Loy. Motherwell cruising against Livingston, and really worrying signs for Davy Martindale, Rory.
Yes, indeed. There's been no reaction whatsoever in the second half. Motherwell, as teams often do when they're this comfortable in a game, probably went down a gear. They don't look like conceding a goal. Blair Spittle had a deflected shot easily saved by Shamal George in 58 minutes. That's really the only talking point of the second half, other than the fact that Callum Butcher had to go off. Don't know if we got a head knock, maybe it was precaution, possibly another injury there. And Ricky Lammy's come on for Stuart Kettlewell's side. Martindale's made a triple substitution in the last few minutes. Bambula, Anderson and Andrew Shinney have come on for Livingston, but they've only been on the park a few minutes. To be honest, I'm surprised we've not seen Bruce Anderson before now. I know he was on the sidelines for a little spell, maybe nursing him back, but he's a player I really like. He can score a goal out of nothing, and that's exactly what Livingston need, because they don't look like creating too much. Motherwell are basically saying, come on, score a goal, and if you don't score a goal, we'll score a goal in the counter-attack. And like I said, Livingston really, really poor. Motherwell very, very comfortable, and it's still 3-0 to Motherwell.
Two changes here at Tynecastle for St Mirren. Off is going Charles Dunn, on goes Declan Gallagher, and the other substitution is Tony Watts coming off, and Alec Grieve is going on. It's obviously like for like subs there for St Mirren as they look to see out this game 2-0 up.
Michael, just talk to us a bit about the stretch. Yeah, on you go, Chick.
Kenny, I'm sorry, but we've got another problem for a Cove player, another long stoppage in the game. There's medical people round. I'm not very sure who it is. They went down off the ball. Certainly Ian Vigurs is stripped and ready to come on, but I'm not quite sure who is the problem over there. But there's been a long stoppage again. The medical staff are on treating the player. I'll let you know who it is as soon as I can. And while that's happening, actually, the manager, the Accies coaching staff have called across all the players, and they're all talking to down in front of the dugout at the moment. This game could be over already at the stoppage. Remember, Scott Fox was stretchered. Well, he didn't get stretchered off, eventually walked off. I'm delighted to say Kyle Gourley came on, but now we've got another long delay. I'll identify the player in a minute, but I can see him getting his feet over there, so that's good news as well.
Yeah, as things stand, Cove Rangers 2 points adrift of Accies at the bottom, and Accies would have a game in hand. In terms of St Mirren, Michael, just talk to us about what worked so well for Stevie Robinson. You were speaking earlier about the options he has up front.
Aye, well, the top end of the park, they're just a nuisance. They're a handful. They've caused real problems for not just Hearts but many teams this season so far. But it's not just upfield, up the top end of the park. Midfield's got loads of energy, the exact opposite of what Hearts have had in recent weeks. Although today it was a bit better. I wouldn't say it was transformational, but it was a bit better. Bacchus in the middle of the park never stops running. He really doesn't. I think he's a very, very good player, effective player, and they've got a good, straightforward, nothing fancy structure about them, and they graft and they work and they make it so difficult for the opposition. And you're playing against the Hearts side who are very low in confidence, and as I said to Leanne earlier on, when confidence is that low, sometimes some players go into their shell and hide a little bit, and unfortunately for Robbie, that's what's happening with some players. They're not playing at their best, and they're not putting in the same work rate, not in terms of through bad attitude, just because they're being a little bit too timid, and that needs to change quickly.
Kenny, they've got good delivery from wide areas, Strain, and the boys small as well. Certainly game I watched, they worked the ball into the wider areas, and didn't try to be too clever, didn't try to take people on, just created a little yard or two and put in some great balls.
Yeah, you saw them last week beating Livingston, as Chick I think said earlier, that they've got away to Rangers and then at home to Kilmarnock before the split. But Stevie Robinson's side sitting in a really strong position at the moment, fifth in the table, just 1 point behind Hearts, who they're beaten by 2-0 this afternoon. Snodgrass sent off for the home side. In terms of your game, Alan Preston.
Kenny, just a quick update. It's Mikko Vertinen who's got off. Here's a chance for Accies. I'll tell you about this in a moment. Oh, great save by the goalkeeper. Yeah, Mikko Vertinen went off. Looks like a broken arm, actually. They've got stuff around his arm. So another major blow for Cove, because that'll be him out, I would imagine.
Never mind him, are you alright? Are you alright?
Yeah, I thought I was away myself there, actually. You'll say a few words, Kenny, I'm sure, if anything happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't say what. Annan 3, Dumbarton 1. David Wilson with a goal for Dumbarton on 75 minutes. Alan, in terms of St Johnstone, you know, they're in a tricky position in the league. There's not a huge amount for these players to play for at the moment.
There's not, but they need to get results. You know, they're playing for their future. They're playing for their manager's future as well. The fans, you know, the St Johnstone fans are quite placid at times, but not today. They're venting their anger here. They're really disappointed. Their home form, you know, has been quite poor. 3 wins all season, not one at home since November the 6th. And this is a bad result for them. It really is. They played okay in that opening period, but when that goal went in just before half time, and then a quick second one 3 minutes into the second half, they are trying. Callum's pushing men on, they're trying their best, but they've just not got the quality, I'm afraid. And it'll be a real disappointment for Callum. But Ross County taking that away from them, like you're saying, the away teams, you know, they're not great away from home, Ross County, but this is a terrific 3 points if it stays like this.
Let's get into the championship. Amy Canavan is at Gayfield this afternoon. Dundee, the leaders, are away at Arbroath. What's happening there, Amy?
Not a lot, Kenny. Really not a lot. There's very, very little action happening. Mikey McKenna's just fired a free kick just wide of Adam Legson's, but he just doesn't really need to do an awful lot at all. Both sides trying to inject some fresh legs, making some substitutions, but there has not been too much goalmouth action at all. But like I say, as I did in the first half, it's remaining very meaty in the middle of the park. A lot of battles, a few yellow cards flying around as well, but of actual quality, very little in the final third.
Yeah, you just wonder if Dick Campbell will be very happy with that point this afternoon. That would be 32 points. He'd finish the day on, as things stand, 3 points clear of Accies, 5 points clear of Cove. Cove having played a game more there. Derek, Falkirk against Dunfermline this afternoon. We're expecting Dunfermline will go on and win the title. You see a lot of the championship in terms of the squad that James McPake has put together there. Do you see that being competitive in the championship next season?
Absolutely. They've got good players, they're well organised, they've showed good character today, because some teams, when they go 2 behind, you know, sometimes they fall a wee bit short in terms of they throw the towel in. Not this side, obviously, you know, they're used to winning. They're used to not conceding goals. That must have been a bit of a shock to them this afternoon. But no, they showed that character. They've come back, and, you know, and they've got a little bit about them. Lewis McCann, he's been excellent in the wider areas. They've got Whiting up top, you know, in the middle of the park, Chalmers as well. So they have got good players, good structure about them. But it's that what I love, that sometimes you do see players, you know, when the chips are down a little bit, you know, the body language, but they haven't showed that whatsoever. They've got a great following, right enough. You know, this Dunfermline fan base here that's here today, so that does help, Kenny.
Chance for Motherwell. I can't quite see who it was. Possibly Paul McGinn at the front post. It's a poor corner from Blair Spittle, and quite acrobatically, I think it's McGinn. Leanne might be able to help me out on that one. Swings his leg at it, and it cannons back off Shamal George's post. He could do nothing about it, but the ball does stay out, and it remains Motherwell 3, Livingston 0 as they come on the attack again.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
think
sure,
that's
Rory.
really good management by Malky Mackay. And sorry, Simon Murray, who came on for Brophy, is going off. He's fine, there's nothing wrong with him. But obviously they don't know how long Brophy's going to be out, so Murray probably just protecting him with about 8 minutes to go, taking him back off. So the sub has been subbed, but not due to his performance. He's been excellent.
Atalanta 0, Bologna 1, Sansoni with a goal in 49 minutes. Derek, potentially another great result for your boy. You see a lot of speculation over his future, even talk of the likes of Juventus. How does he cope with that speculation? He's obviously having a great time in Italy.
He's not really taking any kind of notice, and I'm being honest here, Kenny, because he really enjoys where he is, where he lives, everything about the club. So, and it's like me being his dad. I'm just happy that he's happy. So that's nice. They're winning, and it's a lovely place to visit. I can tell you that.
I've heard that. It's a lovely place.
How's the wine?
How's it? My wife. That's what he said, my wife.
The wine.
I'm trying to get away with my wife as much as I can, to be honest with you. But no, I'm more just a couple of Moretti when I'm over there. I hope she's not listening.
Spurs 2, Brighton 1. Harry Kane on 79 minutes. Albion Rovers 3, Elgin City 0. Joe Bevan on 83. East Fife down to 10 men. Alan Troughton sent off on 75 minutes. So
good to see Harry Kane's recovered for that serious injury he got.
Dreadful, wasn't it?
Kenny, I've never seen Livingston as poor as this defensively, and in all the time I've been working with you guys, and I've covered quite a few Livingston games. Liam Kelly 3 times in this half has shelled the ball up the pitch 80 yards, and Livingston, either Motherwell get a throw in high up the pitch or a corner. I mean, the fullbacks, Morgan Boyce, Fitzwater, Devlin, they just look totally lost. And I get you can be low in confidence, but honestly, positionally, they're getting caught out time and time again off the most Route 1 basic balls up the pitch. Really, really poor to watch. And
from your position there, Rory, you'll have a good view of Davy Martindale. What's he like in the touchline at the moment?
Well, I think it's one of those ones where he's probably that angry. He's making, he's actively trying. And then I think it's Penrice that's coming off now because, like I said, he's been caught out with that one a few times. It is Penrice. I think he's just trying to keep it all in. Goodness knows he probably unleashed at half time to his players, but he's not been too animated on the touchline thus far. But I think he'll probably let his players know exactly how he feels at full time, because it's schoolboy defending at best.
And what about that touchline?
It's a chance. Oh, he's missed it. Oh, it's a goal. Kevin Van Veen, he looked like he was potentially offside to me. There's no flag went up, so the goal will stand. It's his 3rd hat-trick this season. He got one against Inverness and one against Ross County earlier in the season. The initial header is well saved from point-blank range from Shamal George, and he taps in the rebound. But again, a steward's inquiry on the pitch between all the Livingston players, because the defending is horrific.
He is having a terrific season, Alan Preston.
Phillips hits a left foot shot off the post, almost got St Johnstone back into the game, but hits the inside of the post and bounces out.
What's happening at Tynecastle, Michael Stewart? Each time I look up, there seems to be St Mirren on the attack there. Have you seen anything at all from Hearts since going behind?
Yeah, there's been moments, there's been little bits that, ultimately they've not been able to trouble Trevor Carson enough. And I think the set that, Robert Snodgrass gets sent off. They had a wee flurry for a few minutes where you're thinking to yourself, well, they could get something, but ultimately Hearts are flat. They've been, battered with 2 goals here as well. Confidence is so low, so brittle, that any sort of comeback was going to be a stretch. And now Hearts have got a derby away from home. They just need to find some way.
Sorry, Michael, there's a VAR check just quickly for offside on that Kevin Van Veen goal.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. So looking at the live table, Aberdeen 3rd spot, 47 points. Hearts 4th, 45. St Mirren 5th, just a point behind
offside.
The Jambos. Offside. Right?
Kevin Van Veen can't believe it. It was my initial thought, to be fair, that he was offside. I'm surprised the flag didn't go up. So it's back to Motherwell 3, Livingston 0.
It was tight, Rory. He started offside. He managed to then almost get himself in line, but he was marginally off.
Rory, last week, Livingston's set pieces were woeful, which they were normally over the years. They've been really good.
Yeah.
Their delivery, but they were so poor.
I mean, if Leanne's saying it's close.
No, I've seen it again, actually, Rory. It's not. He's a half yard.
Yeah.
He goes on. I thought the ball had been kicked just slightly before it. As I say, he starts maybe 4 or 5 yards offside and he walks back towards the edge of the 18. But there's a delay in the kick, and by that point he moves again. So no, it was more than the correct decision.
Yeah, but even then, Leanne, I mean, you look at the Livingston players, he hits the ball, there's a save, he then
there's
does
no
he take
reaction.
a touch and put it in the net?
Yeah,
and they're all just standing watching.
Yeah, no, there's no reaction. I think they've, as you say, it's a different type Livingston performance is what we're seeing just now.
Organised is one word you would associate with any David Martindale team, whether they're playing direct, whether they're trying to play more creative football, which they've done at times and been brilliant to watch. They've never come away from being organised. Very rarely would they lose by more than a goal last season. I mean, they're unrecognisable.
Michael, I'm interested.
Kenny, you were saying about St Johnstone. Kenny, you're saying about St Johnstone being nothing to play for, really. This result today drags them into that playoff spot. It really
do you think it does,
County
Alan?
will be 5 behind them, or they're 5 behind them now, County, and second bottom. They're in that playoff spot and they're 5 points behind them.
Yeah,
And the way St Johnstone's home form is, You know, it's not great. It isn't great at all.
So St Johnstone 32, Kilmarnock 28, Ross County 27, United they play tomorrow 22. So yeah, you're right, Alan. You know, they're in a poor run of form. They could easily get dragged very much into the mix down there. Michael, what about the atmosphere through there at Tynecastle? We saw, you know, streams of Hearts fans leaving the ground. Is there a lot of animosity towards the manager? Are you hearing much? How's he reacting?
Well, there's been a few moments that you heard it yourself, but I mean, on the whole, I think there's just real despondency. It's flat. You know, the performance on the park's flat. The atmosphere in the stands is flat, apart from the wee band of St Mirren fans that down at the school end to our
they sold out again. I know that for a fact. They sold out again. St Mirren, they're obviously loving the former clubs.
Understandably so. You know, I said before in January when they came here, they put in a pretty good performance. You know, their away form, in terms of this is only going to be their third win away from home. And in January when they came, their away form was, you know, it was poor then as well. They put in a performance which was pretty good. There was, you know, they made it very difficult for Hearts that day. Barry Mackay scored a great goal. It was a really well-worked team goal, but there wasn't much between them. And today, got to say, St Mirren thoroughly deserved their victory, and they're going to be closing in 1 point behind Hearts. And no wonder the crowd are enjoying their afternoon here. For Hearts, as I said just before there, they just need to find some way of winning a game of football. Doesn't matter how crap the performance is. Whether a goal comes off somebody's nose, backside, knee, it doesn't matter. They need to win a game and then just try to build from there, because at the moment everything's just built on sand.
Shamal George has had to make another save there. I cannot explain to you how many times that ball into the full-back area. I mean, literally this time there's nobody standing there, there's nobody there, and it's the substitute Jack Aitchison. He picks the ball up and he gets a ball into the box, and then Callum Slattery walks past three Livingston players. They get a little bit of luck, and then there's the save, and then they shout for a penalty, which I don't think's a penalty. But yeah, I mean, again, another ball into that full-back area, which quite simply isn't defended very well, as Fitzwater has to head behind there. Van Veen made that movement to the front post, and Motherwell have a corner. Sean Goss has been magnificent in the middle of the pitch today, I must say, for Motherwell. Van Veen's been excellent, Spittle's been good. Very, very good performance all round. But
Rory, I remember you were on the night with me. Two of my kids are through in that St Mirren support today. It's amazing. They're going away with great belief now. They're loving it, of course. But you were on with me that night in the summer when they went out. We heard Stephen Robinson. My goodness, he gave a great interview that night when they lost at Airdrie. It's been a terrific story the way he's turned that squad around.
Yeah, it has. And I said that night that if you've been in the division for 6 or 7 seasons, you know, Peter Grant had said that night that he would bite your hand off for 10th after that. And, you know, it's all good and well me saying now it's different because they are doing well. But if you've been in the division for 6 or 7 seasons, there needs to be a little bit of ambition there to try and push into that top 6. That's not to say if they end up coming out in 7th come the split that it's been a poor season by any stretch. However, they've got to have some ambition at some point. Otherwise, what is the point? And they've put together a decent squad who have been pretty relentless at home, and they're picking up a result at Tynecastle today. And you know, I don't even think Stephen Robinson after that night in Airdrie possibly believed what he was saying. But like I said, they're well-established Premier League club now, and when you look at the likes of St Johnstone and Livingston doing it over recent seasons, there's absolutely no reason why St Mirren can't be pushing for that 6th spot in the league.
Yeah, it's been a heartache a couple of times just losing out on the final day before the split. Some full times going in: Albion Rovers 3, Elgin City 0, Stranraer 0, Forfar 0. A couple of late goals for Airdrie, has them 3-0 up on Montrose. Willie Miller, in terms of the overall performance from the Dons today, what have you made of it? You still awake, Willie? Or?
He's on the beans. Surely they're all on the beans up there.
Is he okay?
I don't know.
Wakey.
Stephen Kelly's just shelled a ball out the pitch, which was Livingston's best opportunity of the second half.
Kenny, it's all over. Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2.
All the goals in the first half. Yeah, great game there. The Pars very much on the verge of the title. Willie, were you shouting out there? No, I thought I heard Willie's voice.
The ball is in the back of the net right enough at Pittodrie. I think there's either a foul's been given or a high boot. I think it might be. Kilmarnock have scored. It's either a foul or it's offside.
Yeah, I don't know actually something
we'll
out
be
of the
able to
games.
wake Willie up just shortly.
But sometimes out of the games there's a lot of noise. It sometimes knocks the ice and equipment off. So
He's celebrating. He's a wee celebrating.
He's got the T-shirt up. He's running round.
I think they're definitely looking at an offside. Robinson, is it?
Willie, you back with us?
And here I'm telling you, I've got a wee black book. I haven't packed it away. I've kept it since I was a player. And there's a number of names that's went onto it when I've had that technical issue there. So you better watch out. Believe me, you all better watch out.
What's happening up there? We're waiting. Is it a check, Willie, or is it over?
No, it's over. Oh no, it's still on the go. The referee hasn't allowed it. Ended up in the back of the net. It was a goal for Kilmarnock. But the referee had blown, I think it was for offside, not 100% sure, because I was trying to fix the machine while it was happening.
Yeah, I think they're checking for an offside, Willie, for Robinson.
Is it?
Yeah, it does look tight. It looks like, to me, like he's marginally off, but we'll see when the decision comes out. The camera angle isn't great that I've seen it from.
Yeah, they're taking their time with it.
That's full time at Gayfield. Dundee will go top of the Scottish Championship.
Yeah, they certainly will. They are held at home, away to Arbroath. Goal, it says Dundee 54 points, Queen's Park 54. Partick Thistle right in the mix now on 51 points. Ayr United on 50. Looking at the live table, Inverness, Cali Thistle still with a shout, 45 points. They've got a game in hand on the three sides directly above them. And at the bottom, what's happening there? Chick Young through at Hamilton Accies against Cove Rangers.
Well, Accies have got a free kick just outside the box. There was a bad foul. Scott Ross pulled the player down. The Accies maybe 25 yards. No chance here to grab a winner that would probably seal the fate of Cove Rangers, and it's over the crossbar. Still one each, Kenny.
Yeah, check over, yep. Kenny, check over.
Thanks,
it's still 2-0 for the Dons.
Full-time score, Peterhead 1, FC Edinburgh 0. As Derek said, Falkirk 2, Dunfermline 2, Stennismuir 0, Bonnie Rose 0. It's finished. Ayr United 1, Morton 1, Fulham 0, West Ham United 1, Arbroath 0, Dundee 0, as Amy was telling us. Airdrie now 3, Montrose 0, Celtic Hearts 0, Clyde 0. I'm guessing perhaps that, again, if you're hearing anything there, I'm guessing that's maybe at Tynecastle. You know, obviously frustrations boiling over there. Is it full time now, Michael?
It is indeed. I was just waiting for you to finish there, Kenny. I thought it would be pretty obvious to you when you could hear the noise that, that's full time here at Tynecastle, 2-0 to the away side.
Yeah, we're seeing pictures of Robbie Nielsen walking across the park there. This is going to be a difficult time, I'm sure, for the Hearts manager. Last week, they lost, of course, at Rugby Park. We had some Hearts fans joining us on Sports and very, very angry. They said they're sick of hearing the same story from the Hearts manager week after week. What will he have to say today? No doubt there is pressure on him, Alan Preston. We've been saying, we saw the vandalism, the graffiti outside the stadium this week. Totally unacceptable. But the fans, the anger now is boiling over. We can hear it in the background there at Tynecastle.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Nielsen's always had his doubters. That's always been the case since that 2016 game against Hibernian at Tynecastle, and then obviously losing to Brora, and then Alloa last year as well. People wanted him out. It's just going to grow. There's a lot of people still, rightly so, for Robbie, you know, but there's a lot of them now. The band of people that want him out is certainly growing bigger and bigger.
Celtic Hearts 0, Clyde 0, Inverness, Cali Thistle 2, Wraith Rovers 0, Leicester City 0, Bournemouth 1, Alloa 1, Queen of the South 2, all full-time scores.
Full time at Perth, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 2.
Yeah, you can hear the boos there as well. Hearts 0, St Mirren 2, a late goal for Villa. Ollie Watkins, now they're 2-0 up at home to Nottingham Forest. Full-time score, Brentford 1, Newcastle United 2, Newcastle chasing the place there in the Champions League. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. My goodness, it's incredible what's happening to that club given the money they have spent. Annan Athletic 3, Dumbarton 1. Dumbarton have been on a dreadful run of form. As a consequence, looking at the live table now, they are 9 points behind Stirling
Motherwell
Albion.
3, Livingston 0.
Yeah, what a run they have been on. Motherwell under Stuart Ketchwell. Van Veen with goals on 9 and 33. Thought he had a hat-trick, that was ruled out by VAR. Max Johnson with a third goal there on 34 minutes. Looking at the live table, still a squeak.
Full time, Kenny at Pittodrie. It's third place Aberdeen 2, Kilmarnock 0.
Yeah, very, very good. Duke with opening goal in 17 seconds. You get the second on 59 minutes. Just saying, Motherwell still with a chance, you'd think. Perhaps they'll get into the top 6, 36 points they have. Livingston 39. Hibs who play tomorrow on 40 points. So we are still playing, just looking at, actually just seeing a nice picture there, coming through from Curtis Main, celebrating with his family there down at the front of the stand there behind the goal. What a result for St Mirren this afternoon. Main opened the scoring in 52. Mark O'Hara, he's had a great season as well. 57 minutes, he got the second. Robert Snodgrass, wrongly we think sent off, showing a second yellow card on 62 minutes. So is that all the games done and dusted this afternoon? Just wait and check.
Yeah, Ken, we've got another injury. It's Mark Reynolds this time. I tell you what, Cove nearly snatched it there. The corner kick on the left hand side. Vigers fired it in and the ball ended up just going over the bar. Reynolds is involved in that. He obviously, I don't think, seems to have pulled his groin or something. He's limping to the sideline now. We've been injuries and physiotherapists on the pitch all afternoon. I'm up for certain that Nico Vertonen's got a broken arm. We had the goalkeeper Scott Fox getting taken off before half time to be replaced by Kyle Gourlay, and this game goes on and on. Both teams desperate to get all 3 points, and Cove really need it. This is going to leave it's a bigger result for Accies, of course, than it is for Cove Rangers. They would trail Accies by 2 points with a game more played and just 4 matches to go. This game's going on and on. When you're on to 7 o'clock.
Yeah, Chick, you can stay with us. We've got plenty to talk about tonight, no doubt about that. I think the story of the afternoon is developing through at Tynecastle. We can hear the frustrations of the fans boiling over there. We also want to hear from St Mirren fans tonight. What a terrific run your club have been on. They are into the top 6. They're a point behind 4th placed Hearts. They go away to Rangers, at home to Kilmarnock, and then we split for the top 6. So Chick just waiting on that game at the bottom of the championship. So Arbroath on 32 points, Hamilton Accies on 29, Cove Rangers on 27 points. At the close of play today, they will have 4 games left to play to try and preserve the championship status. They came up, of course, with a terrific story at Cove Rangers. They sacked Jim McIntyre in January, and since then they've been in a really poor run of form.
Here's a chance. Accies have got another free kick outside the box. If Cove do go down, Ken, you might be worried about your own job on a Saturday.
Good point. I haven't signed a contract. That's a good point, Chick.
Let's see, this surely is the last chance saloon for Accies to get something in this, and that would surely direct Cove in the direction of Division 1. It's a free kick outside the box.
Could be a big moment.
It could well be. This could be drama all the way. It's a free kick. Connor Smith, dead ball specialist that he is, going to take this for the Accies. I think he's going to take it right-footed, which will indicate to me that it's going to get played into an area rather than a shot. Just taking the ball, 4 men in the Cove wall, and he's just over the ball as Connor Smith. He is going to take this right-footed. I can't see this being a shot. And it's just played square. There's a little ball played in an area. It's a little scramble inside the box now. Cove hanging in, it's a ball in the area. Oh, it's just over the bar in the at the corner of the 6-yard box, and that surely will be the last chance for Accies. Waiting for the referee, Mike Roncon, to blow the full-time whistle here, Ken. It remains Accies 1, Cove 1. Remember, Louis Longstaff put the visitors ahead with a great solo run down the right-hand side, and then Connor Smith from the penalty spot made it 1-1. But there is the full-time whistle, and it's not looking good for Cove Rangers. Indeed, they have drawn here. It's Hamilton Accies 1, Cove Rangers 1.
Thanks to Chick Young. So that's all the games done and dusted on Sports Sound this afternoon. Remember, we're with you right through until 7 o'clock this evening. Some new guests coming into the studio around about 5:30. We'll get all the managerial reaction. Very interested to hear what Robbie Nielsen has to say tonight. Be interested to hear what Hearts fans have got to say about his position. Alan Preston saying he thinks some of these Hearts fans could be protesting at the ground as we speak. A lot of them left very early today. St Mirren, what a performance for them. Just seeing replays again on the screen closest to me in the studio. The opening goal from Curtis Main was an absolute cracker. So all the reaction to come on Sports Sound right after the BBC Radio Scotland News at 5 o'clock.
On digital radio.